Hey everyone, if no one comes in, which is fine, it's a Friday night, it doesn't, it matters, but people are going to see this later anyways. And the purpose of this video is to help promote the really great outdoor channel, Mark J Larson Outdoors. And in the chat box is the link to Mark's channel. And I've been a fan of his for a couple of years now, and he's gotten over 1,000 supporters, but he's trying to find, hey JB, how you doing? He's trying to find enough watch hours. So that's the purpose of doing this video. And I hope he can get them because he's worked awfully hard. He's taught me an awful lot. There are so many great channels out there, and Mark is definitely one of them. And so is JV. He's another one. So what's going on, JV? How are you? I haven't really done anything. I haven't really had the means to be able to do a giveaway or anything special for anyone. And this morning when I saw Mark's video about how he's a little bit short on his watch hours, I thought, well, there's something I can do. I got some time tonight. So this morning, oh, you're eating dinner? Cool. What's for dinner? So I thought it would be a nice gesture to help promote him because I was kind of in the mood to do it. So I'm glad that it popped up when it did. I'm going to do a giveaway at some point. I'm just not sure when. I get myself involved in so many things, and then I just forget, and I think, well, I wanted to like make my fat wax for everybody and give that away, but would that be good enough, or could I do like a fat wax with like an anti-tick spray and all that good fun stuff? Oh, hey Mark, this is all about you. I saw your video this morning, and I just thought it would be a nice idea to do, maybe about an hour. Hi, Ray. How are you? And see if I can get some people interested and have them come over. And, like I said in the description, you don't have to make a commitment, but, check them out. And then maybe after that, they'll want to be a full-time supporter. Hi, Tom. How you doing? I miss small game season. I never got back out again, unfortunately. JV says he hasn't been doing much either besides, oh, the Bible readings. Yeah, I've been trying to, I didn't think I was going to get videos out because I started another class that turns out to be pretty heavy with the book work and a lot of reading. So I didn't know if I was going to get anything. Hey, there's Craig. There's another great channel. Craig, I'm doing this video tonight to help Mark J. Larson get his hours in. I'm hoping that some of my 370 supporters might be interested. And, later on, once the live is over the next few days, you see an awful lot of views come in. So I started off saying that that's what the purpose of this was, and hopefully people will be interested and go over and check it out, especially if they're interested in the outdoors, first timers or seasoned. Doesn't matter. You can learn something from all of you guys. You're all terrific. Thanks for coming in, everyone. I didn't really expect to see anyone because it's a Friday. We're kind of like on the cusp of spring, sort of tired of winter. I'm not really, but a lot of people are. I could go for another 2 feet of snow, personally. I know people think that's crazy, but I want to get some more skiing in, and I want to do some snowshoeing. And I need a lot of snow to do both of those. Well, not so much for the cross-country skiing. I only need maybe a dusting, but I've played a split twice already. Yeah, I did that today. I was doing a lot of driving around. Oh, thank you, Craig. And I did a lot of driving around, so I just put it on the longest playlist I could find and just let it run right through as I was driving around. Tired from work? Yeah, I'm tired of work. I mean, I don't mind work. I don't mind doing something that I love. I'm just tired of what I've been doing because it turned into such a volatile thing. Researching is very interesting, and there's a big need for it. But since 2020, it kind of went down the crapper. So that's why I'm working on another plan for a different career. But what I've done all these years in freelance researching will definitely enhance what I'm working on. So, and actually, my schoolwork requires a lot of research too. So that's coming in handy there. The thing that I can't stand about computers is the information is there and you can look up almost anything, but it's not much different from when back in the day I had to go into libraries. I still do. I go into libraries, public halls of record, you name it. And you could write a whole bunch of crap or read a whole bunch of crap and none of it's viable. So, people say, oh, well, just because it's on the internet, it must be true. The sarcastic remark there. Uh, it doesn't, even if it's like some kind of church clergy records from 1620, it could still be a whole bunch of crap. So it's interesting. So you kind of have to take it all with a grain of salt. But anyhow, I miss working with the written word. I miss working with the hard copy. So let's talk about how great Mark is. Mark, man, going out to the West Coast. Well, you've been out that way before, right? Mark says, yeah, here we go. I have so much trouble with computers, but I'm getting better. I mean, I've been on computers for so many years, but oh my goodness. I gotta say, back in the day, I really believe they worked better because I can remember, like Word shut me down tonight. And just before Word shut me down, and I think it was an internet thing, I got a text from a friend in Toronto who said she was having trouble with her Word. So I was like, all right, go into this, go into that. That might work. Save everything. Hopefully everything's saved so she doesn't lose it. And then she had to go to work and she's like, oh my God, I got to get this work done. And Word's just not working. So, but back in the day when Word first came out, I don't know if anybody remembers it, but you used to get that little, it was a prompter. It was that paper clip with the big bulging eyeballs on it. Hey, Wookie, how you doing? Wookie, we're here tonight to help promote Mark J Larson Outdoors because he's almost there. So a lot of us saw his video over the last couple of days. I think you did it yesterday, Mark, and I saw it this morning. But we've been playing his playlist all day, and I thought I would do this live tonight because hopefully, some of my 370 some subscribers who are not familiar with Mark and never saw his channel before will get interested and get over there and check it out. Yeah, Wookie's smart, man. He's staying away from the rest of the world. I don't blame him. But back to the paperclip and Word. If something goes wrong today in Word or anywhere on the computer, it just says, okay, something went wrong, but it doesn't tell you how to get out of it. You almost have to know. You have to like be a computer nerd tech. But back in the day, when you had that stupid little paperclip up there, it would pop up while you were trying to do something and you weren't really getting there. And it would pop up and say, what would you like to do today? And then you would type it in and it would just tell you. They don't do that anymore. Not to mention computers are throwaways. I have a 20-year-old Dell laptop, one of the very first ones ever made, and it was $600 and it's guaranteed for life. And it can do a lot of this work. The problem is I have trouble trying to find my, like if I want to send something from my phone, it's not online, but if I want to send something to my phone it's not Wi-Fi ready either because it's so old fashioned. So if I want to send if I download something onto my phone, my 20-year-old Dell computer will recognize it, but the problem is it can't organize it like a newer computer will. So it organizes it like it would have done 20 years ago. So I have to go in and I have to look for everything, and it's a real pain in the neck. So, and I was trying to use the Dell copier that came with it when I first started my new classes in February, but I ended up having to go out to get a computer from Best Buy, and guess what? I got it for free. And the reason I got it for free is because I had to go back to the store 3 times. And the third one was a charm, and that was the one that worked. The first two were having they all have glitch problems, but these were having serious ones where it wasn't working at all. Hey, Big Matt, how you doing? Oh, you know what? If anybody wants to come up, you most certainly can. Let's see if I can remember how to do this. There we go. Yeah, if anybody wants to come up, I'm more than happy to have you. I always feel like I'm talking to my hand. I know I'm talking to you guys, but oh, I love this thing. And even before the oil went ballistic. Hey, Al, how you doing? Oh, there's JB. Let me see. Hey, there you are.
How's it going?
It's good. I can't really complain. Wookie was just admiring my hat. My friend went to Canada for Thanksgiving and brought it back for me. And I'm wearing it in the house because I've been trying to beat the oil since last year. I've had the same tank for 7 months. And it is 50, what is it? Oh, wow, it's 58 degrees in the kitchen. So this wards off the cold. I don't have any problems with the cold with this hat on.
Well, yeah. I was admiring it too.
But me talking about 58 degrees means nothing to you, JB. Did you freeze up on me? I think you did.
I can't tell.
Yeah, you froze up. There you are. You're back again. I was just complaining about it being 58 degrees in my kitchen because I'm keeping my heat down. And that's why I wear the hat around the house, because it keeps me warm. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you just fine.
Oh, okay, because you froze
I was just going over to see if it looks good on YouTube, but it does.
Oh, cool. What's the temperature out there right now?
I know it was minus 18 this morning.
Wow.
But it did warm up because the wind died down. So we're at 13 degrees, but it still feels like minus 3.
You have a problem with dry skin in the winter?
I have my lotion next to me at all times.
I usually do too, Wookie. Normally, that's what I've traditionally done, but I didn't know things were going to get this bad, but yeah, I've had it down to 52, and about 4:30 in the morning, the heat will come on, and it just keeps the house from freezing, and I have a space heater, so that's how I'm dealing with it. But eventually, I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and buy some oil anyways. Speaking of the lotion, yeah, it's been 2 years and I haven't done a giveaway or anything. So when I saw Mark's video, I thought, let me do this. I'll start with this and then I'll see where it goes from there. Try to give him a little promotion.
You know what? I'm just about got Eric to 1,000. Where am I at? Let me see where he's at. Yeah, he's getting there. Maybe after I get Eric to
Mark, you're terrible.
It's cold, dude. I get itchy if I don't have my lotion. But I think maybe after I get Eric to 1,000, I should start working on you, Irene. Let's get you up there in numbers.
I don't know. I do so many different things, and they say in all those videos how to promote your channels. I've listened to them, but it's been a long time. I don't bother with them anymore. I just do what I feel like doing. But they all say stick with the same thing. But that's why I call this the field guide, because a field guide can cover anything and everything.
Yeah, that's why I go with JV Outdoors, because I used to be JV Hunting.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, so everybody would come on thinking it was all about hunting.
You froze up again. I think that might be me. I'm not positive.
Because I'm watching it on YouTube and I'm not freezing up over there.
I had some problems. Hand lotion was my nickname. You're crazy, man.
Oh, I love Al.
I love that picture of the bobcat. I have a video coming out tomorrow where I find the fox den. You know, all my filler trail cam pics, which I love. I love doing that. But oh, thank you, Wookie. I appreciate it. But these fox that I'm seeing, the last batch had 2 fox in it. And that video actually hasn't come out yet, but I did a shed hunt back there and I found the fox den. In fact, I posted a picture of it on Facebook today. And the thumbnail for this live stream is the fox den.
Nice.
I need to stop those neighbors' dogs. You know what happened? My neighbors love the videos. They're not supporters or anything, but you know, I'll send the link to them and they'll watch it. So they thought they would help, and the trail cam is up behind them. You're reviewing a trail? Oh, that ought to be interesting. Real interesting. So they thought they'd help out, and I explained it in the video a little bit, but they started throwing their kitchen scraps out there like pieces of pineapple. You know, you might maybe get a skunk or a raccoon, but you know, the deer aren't going to eat that. So every once in a while, and they throw it right underneath the camera because they don't realize you need some distance. So in a lot of pictures, I mean, I'll get like 600 pictures of like a deer's shoulder.
Oh yeah.
And that's a pain in the butt. So I got to go up there with the snow shovel and push it back. And, you know,
I've gotten some of the coolest pictures of stuff like that, though. Like, I love those pictures of the deer looking right into
I
the
don't know why you're breaking up, JB. Is
It looks
anybody else noticing that he's breaking up, or is it just on my end?
Yeah, it's just your end because I'm watching it on YouTube as well, and it's perfect there.
I missed that, JV. I don't know if it's on my end or your end, but I was having internet problems like 10 minutes before I came on. I was freaking out. Oh, no kidding now. I went over to the farm where I did the sugar bush video, and there were 2 spots along the side trail that I like to snowshoe and skate and walk through. And oh, you think it's not? Yeah, I think it is too, Wookie. Because I was having problems earlier. Yeah, 2 big patches, nothing but coyote poop and deer hair. So they were eating good. The outdoor educator over there is leaving, and I saw a post for the job. And I was a day late for putting it in, but I thought, all right, don't worry about it. There's a reason for everything.
Yeah.
But that would be a cool job because the outdoor educator over at that museum where I did Sugar Bush, you're allowed to trap over there as long as you have a license because it's for educational purposes.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah. There's a lot to be done over there. I don't know if you can go after the coyotes, but I know he's had trap out for muskrat. There's no beaver over there. And I also found his trap. I think it was Judith and Dan Davis said it was a weasel trap. I was explaining it on one of my lives. I found it when I was snowshoeing out there. We're supposed to get about 7 inches of snow, which is nothing to you, JB.
Actually, we haven't had much snow this year.
But everybody's freaking out about
it. We could go for really good snow this year. We have not had much. That's why I actually haven't done any winter bushcrafting because people won't believe me that it's winter.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same thing here. I mean, we got what, like maybe 6 or 7 inches in January, and that was a lot for me, so I could, you know, get out and have my fun. But yeah, I mean, we need a good 2-footer, 3-footer.
Yeah, we do too. I'm afraid our lakes and rivers are going to be low again this year like they were last year.
We've had many years like that around here.
It's complete opposite. For 3 years before that, we were flooded for 3 years straight. And then now for 2 years, we're going to be drought.
Ah, great. My phone shut down the internet. That's probably what the problem is. You should run a little bit better now, JB. I just discovered my phone was working against me.
Oh, what you eating, Jay? I was eating, yeah, eggs and bacon. That's what I was eating. I made a skillet.
Cool. I'd have pancakes with that, with lots of maple syrup.
I'm on the carnivore diet, so I can't have any carbs whatsoever.
Oh, how long are you
But
gonna do it forever, or are you gonna just do it temporarily? Because the body loves carbs, so does the brain and the thyroid. I don't want to get too technical, but we got to have them.
no, it's just till I get down to my weight I want to get down to. I'm already down over
I
20
lost
pounds.
4 pounds. I need to
Nice.
lose weight. Been rough on my knee, my one knee, and my feet. You got shut down again. Just as bad as that guy in Pennsylvania. Mookie says, what did you say? Got hit with a 2-footer and a few 8-inch storms. Yeah. And the last 2 storms we had, they were supposed to be these blockbusters that would shut everything down. Everybody would be stuck in the house for months and starve to death. And they just kind of melted as they hit the ground because we had a lot of 60-degree days.
Yeah, that's we get snow, but yeah, we only get like 4 or 5 inches, and then the next day it's 60 degrees.
That's
Crazy.
weird for South Dakota.
Yeah. Yeah, right now it's -3, and I think tomorrow it's supposed to be
My
almost
friend
50
is supposed to be heading out to Pierre to see her parents. She moved here to marry a fella, and she's going to be going out to Pierre in April. And I'm surprised she didn't go out sooner because she loves the snow and she misses it.
Yeah, they get more snow West River than we do. But I don't think they have much either.
Well, I don't care what anybody says. I knew a guy who worked at a harp center back during the Korean War. He said, make no mistake about it, they control the weather. You want to be a snowman when you grow up, Val?
Do you want to be a snowman?
You gotta admit that some of those cartoon movies, they're pretty cool. I enjoy watching them.
Wookie, you gotta look. I don't know. I don't watch the news. I haven't watched the news in over 9 years, Wookie. That's why I'm such a happy
Yeah, it's
person.
pathetic, isn't it? Well, Christ, I mean, they taught everybody how to fear everything.
Yeah. That's why I'm a happy person. I ain't afraid of stuff.
You know what I discovered, though? We have a guy who graduated from a local high school here who lives in New Zealand. And from New Zealand, he gives the weather. He has a Facebook channel where he gives the best weather ever. I don't know what crystal ball he's using, but he's better than any weatherman around here. New York, Hudson Valley, Albany. He blows them all away. And of course, all the school moms love him because then they know how to dress their kids. But their kids aren't going to dress the way they tell them to anyway. So they're just going to go out, stand there for the bus for half an hour in 3-degree weather wearing a hoodie.
I do that as an adult, so I ain't gonna say that. I just walked to go get my car out of the tire center.
I love hats. I love scarves. I love gloves. But I noticed this time of the year, you can tell people are getting tired of being bundled up because they're walking around basically just wearing a hoodie or a sweater. People feel constricted.
I never bundle up unless I plan on like going into the woods. Like if I'm just running around town, I'm a hoodie, sometimes t-shirt, and shorts, flip-flops.
Well, usually for work, that's what I do because I'm in and out of buildings and I'm in and out of the car. But yeah, on the weekends, I always bundle up because I never know if I'm, like you said, I don't know if I'm going to be out in the middle of the woods somewhere. Hey, there's Amanda. How you doing?
Good morning, Amanda. I share you out everywhere, so.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey, no problem.
Oh, look at that. JV got 2 smileys with a bunch of little hearts. That is so sweet. I think it's a romantic love story that Mark is going out to the West Coast to get Monica. I think that is so sweet.
Yeah, because I wouldn't go to the West Coast for the life of me.
You won't even come here, and I don't blame you. I don't
No.
blame you one bit. You know, I wrote down some of those Adirondack YouTube creators. I gotta check them out at some point because I would love an excuse to go north again.
Oh yeah. And Bigfoot
I mean,
and you live up
this
there.
area is loaded with history. There's a lot of cool stuff, but I can see your point for not wanting to come here. It is just people are like ants around here. I mean, I can't even get out of my driveway without having to wait for like 50 cars to go by it. It's just pathetic anymore. It's still beautiful, still has a lot to offer, but if you're not used to it, it's downright ugly. Al doesn't want to go west.
Hi, Winnie.
Win-Win's Vlogs. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks for coming.
We're here to support Mark J. Larson. So
Winnie,
he
aren't
can
you
get
doing a live right now?
who?
Winnie, I thought she was doing a live right now.
Oh,
But yeah, Winnie, if you wouldn't mind, we are trying to get my buddy Mark J. Larson watch hours, and I'm pretty sure. Did you put him in the comments? Yeah.
yes, I did.
If you look in the description down below, he has a playlist if you would play it for him. Or if you're doing your live, could you copy the thing and put it on your live for me, please?
Here comes the link.
No, I'm still in bed. Oh, okay, never mind.
Oh, you're lying in bed? I hope you're all right.
Yeah, she's just being lazy. No, she works a lot.
We're all going to have to pretty soon. I think I'm going to have to take out a loan just to buy some gas or some oil.
I'm going to invent something. That's my new goal. I'm going to invent the dog poop running car because Charlie will keep my car running forever.
What's the name of that? I have it in my library. The guy who invented an energy source where you didn't need gas, you didn't need electricity. We have unending amounts of energy that come right out of the earth.
Yeah.
And so much of it has been squashed.
We have 1,600 years of natural gas underneath our soil. Why aren't we using it?
It's all about politics and whose pocket the money goes into first.
Well, we found out it was going into Russia's pocket, that's for sure.
Yeah, you know, I'm still on the fence about what we're hearing about that. I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but
see, I know Russia supplies most of Europe. I know that's for sure.
Right, and I remember when Mr. Potato Head got into the White House, the first thing everybody was complaining about was that he cut off the Russian oil. I bet that video was taken down, but I had it in my library on YouTube, and it was a guy who had a car that he created almost like an electromagnetic type of engine that would continuously run. And the biggest problem about it was trying to control the forces of it, because you could get it going under your own control, but then it could almost like become too powerful. And I remember him when he was on TV. I think it was Channel 11 back in the 1970s or early 80s. I bet his channel was taken down. You know what else is interesting? You can't find it on YouTube anymore because he was taken down. Richie from Boston. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of him. Hey, there's Greg. What you doing, Greg?
What up, Greg? Thank you, Winnie. I thought I saw
How's the
somebody
puppy?
else in here. Did PA come in here?
Yeah,
PA
somebody else
Trapping. What's up?
Busy yakking. Oh, PA Trapping Outdoors. How are you? Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, everybody,
Yeah,
it might be about time.
He's on Rumble. Actually, I think you can find his old channel on YouTube and go way, way back to the beginning and he's got this amazing video about the Coral Castle down in Florida, which is still there. It's considered a tourist attraction now, but it's that same kind of place. There's a ton of energy there, and this guy who built it was just phenomenally genius about how he pulled energy out of the earth and harnessed it. And all of his tools and everything are right there, but the tour guides don't explain any of it. So when this guy Richie from Boston went down there, he was lucky enough, coincidentally, to be there with a physicist who was also visiting, just as a tourist, just to go in and check it out. And he wanted to go in and get the specs of this whole thing. So he's writing it down, and Richie introduces himself, and the guy starts to talk to him. So the whole video is this guy explaining how this natural resource works. Oh, you're kidding. Yeah, Rumble went dead for me. How you making out with it, JV?
I quit posting. Like, nobody was watching my videos.
Yeah, I'm really surprised at that. I know Rumble seems to be mostly like radical political videos and such. It doesn't seem like it's very, accommodating to the outdoor people.
I mean, if you can get some subscribers, you'll get them. But yeah, I think most people go there to. They're not there for outdoors. They're there for.
No, I don't think they are either.
What up, Off the Hook?
Seems like all the people who were considered conspiracy theorists who got kicked off of YouTube ended up on Rumble.
There are some
hey,
some
Off the Hook Outdoors. Hi, thanks for coming in.
Like, I know there's like some UFC fighters and stuff like that are over there that refuse to be on YouTube, and they got a pretty good following, but they're also famous.
Yeah. It would be nice to get enough to kind of get a little income, but I don't know if I want to deal with the 1099 because it seems to me it's going to be kind of piddly and it's going to seem like extra paperwork that you just don't want to deal with.
Yeah, unless you're making, an extra 50 grand a year. I don't know if it's really worth
it. Exactly. I mean, even if it was 20,000 a year, that's not too bad. I mean, that's almost like having like a stock dividend or something like that.
Yeah, or even just a part-time job.
Right. But I thought it was anything over $600 a year is taxable. So I don't know how it works with YouTube. But everybody's buckling down on that sort of thing. I even noticed the Facebook Marketplace. In 2020, I sold a ton of stuff through there. Now, as soon as you go in there to post something, bam, we want your SS number, period. And you're not going any farther unless you give it to us. And I was like, ooh, I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I want to get hit up for like a $16 item that I have to deliver to somebody.
Yeah, I ain't dealing with any of that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's worth the trouble. Like you said, if you're famous and you're doing 50 grand a year, yeah, that's a business. That's a real job. But I'm not saying that making videos isn't a real job because it is work, but yeah, not for a little tiny bit.
Yeah.
You got it, Mark.
We love you, Mark. I actually thought of a really good spoof video to make about Mark and Monica, but I'm a little afraid to do it. Mark will find it funny. Monica might come beat me up.
It's got to watch out for the woman because she's always looking for social justice.
Yeah, exactly. And she's from California, so What up, Bill? I need to grab more coffee. I think Charlie wants out. I'll be right back.
No problem. I'm still looking for that video about that guy who harnessed power to run a car, and then somehow he disappeared. Black Belt Bill said, "Hey, Bill, how you doing? You got me into so much trouble on that not intentionally. Everybody, there is a hunting New York webpage that Bill Schmidt introduced me to a while ago, and I never really got interested in it until last December when I decided to post, just as an experiment, decided to post my December small game hunt, and it's not a very friendly community. Not in the least. And that's an understatement. That's the understatement of the year. Because once it went up, they looked at my profile and they saw that I had, I guess, I don't know how you do it on there, but I was friends with Black Belt Bill, and they started going after you, Bill, and then they started going after me, and it got so bad, there's no way to delete. They were nasty, Bill, nasty. Oh my goodness. And there's no way to delete your content. You can't take I was looking for every way I possibly could to take it down. Finally, what I had to do was I couldn't even find notifications. Finally, what I had to do was get so obnoxious. Hey, PA Trapping, what's up? Do some fishing vids, Mark. Yeah, that would be cool. I'd like to see that. Yeah, so I had to get really, really nasty so that an administrator banned me. And now it's March, and I haven't been back since. I was banned for like 15 days. And one of the guys who saw what was going on, he emailed me through my alternate Gmail, like kind of like my social media Gmail, and he was like, I know what these guys are like. They can be really hard. So I asked him. I said, "What do you know about deleting content on here?" And he said, unfortunately, the administrators don't really pay much attention to it, and they really have no way of deleting. You have no way to delete anything. So God knows what happened to it. You're probably still there, so I don't know if you ever had a chance to go look at it, but it's been sitting there for 2 months, that video, and oh my God, they went absolutely ballistic on me. I mean, Jesus, talk about pitchforks and torches all over a silly video. I mean, just a day out in the woods, and they just went bonkers, and not in a good way either. Oh yeah, they sure will. Absolutely. You're right about that, PA Trapping and Outdoors. A lot of people can't get out there, and YouTube is their only access to the outside world. A lot of people are homebound, or they work so much they don't get a chance to go out, or some people have been injured and they don't get out there anymore. There you go, Mark. Great support there. Mark says, I have a couple of PA Trapping Outdoors. Oh, sounds good. We just have to say, I have been attacked on that site. Yeah, well, Bill, while they were attacking me, they saw that I was associated with you because I think I like added you to like my list or something because you were the only person I knew on there. And then they started going after you within their comments. There was nothing specific, but yeah, they were crazy.
I don't know what your dad's talking about. I missed the whole conversation.
Bill Schmidt on here. He's a local guy. We live in the same county, and he introduced me to Hunting New York. It's a website. It's kind of a social media page, kind of like a blog. And I never did much with it until last December when I posted my December small game hunt. And the guys on there are not nice. And when I put it up, they went ballistic on me. And they saw that I was associated with Bill, so they started going after him. I mean, Bill will tell you, these guys are nasty. I had no idea it was going to be that bad.
Truthfully, I'm ashamed of the hunting community in a whole. I don't go on any hunting forums on Facebook or Instagram or anything like that anymore. All they do is bicker and fight about the stupidest things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I completely cut myself off.
Well, Bill, I do too. I mean, I'm on YouTube. Anybody who's on YouTube is putting themselves out there every day, and you got to have a strong stomach for it because, But I mean, no way in the world. I've been on YouTube posting videos for 2 years. No way in the world have I ever had such rude comments on YouTube like I did on the Hunting New York page. The Hunting New York page is the pits. It's just so sad.
Yeah. And then they wonder why, hunting is getting so many, because hunters can't come together. That's the problem. They're all
No, they
fighting over
can't.
dumb stuff. And then
You
the anti-hunters they're all together. They got their thing together, but hunters are fighting over dumb stuff.
Yeah, like in New York, they're still fighting over whether or not a crossbow is archery. Well, for the most part, when I go out into the state land that I usually take videos from, pretty much everybody's nice to me. But I've had some instances where I've been driving out, like the night before a big game season, and the guys are lined up waiting, and they'll stay in their cars overnight just to get their spot. And they're all lined up along the side of the road, and I go driving by, and what do you think I hear? Oh my God, it's a woman! Stop, guys. Seriously, so what? A woman can get her hunter safety course and get a gun and go out there and get her own food if she wants to.
And that's just stupid anyhow. I like seeing women in the outdoors.
Yeah, I do too. In fact, Bill Schmidt's girlfriend, that December small game hunt video that I did, she's actually in it inadvertently. That was her truck that I passed by in the video. I thought it was some other guy, and then she saw it and she said, "Hey, that was my truck." So she was out there hunting, and then I went to the next spot beyond her, and about half a mile down the road or so, I didn't hear her gun go off. So it was the last day. I hope she got something, Bill. What's going on? What am I missing? Thinking about posting a dispatch video. How to. I've always gotten the feeling that doesn't go well on YouTube. I don't know, JP, what do you know about dispatch videos on YouTube?
I know I've never had a video taken down. But I've definitely, it's one of the reasons I turned off my monetization is because they demonetized all my hunting because I show everything. I don't block out blood. I don't block out kill shots. I don't, and the one that really I thought they were going to take down was that
Judith and Dan.
in the head.
I'm having internet problems here, so if I'm talking over JV, it's because his side of the screen froze up. What did you have to say? You froze up again, damn it. I hate that. I want to hear what you're saying. Yeah, I know Boxy has talked about it a lot. I can see you. Now I can. See, you don't know. So what's going on over in Greg's neck of the woods? He says electric just went out and came on within a couple seconds. Man, did anybody see that video I took of that transformer and live wire fire? Holy crap. I mean, and you could feel it. You could feel the electricity pulsing, coming to the percussion of it coming towards the house.
Well, Cynthia's a good friend, not a girlfriend.
Oh, okay, Bill. I'm sorry. I did not mean to insinuate anything. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Where I hunt, Bill's friend Cynthia grew up there. There used to be 3 towns in there. It was Maybrook, Rock Tavern, and Rocklet. And I think they had 3 schools in there, a bunch of farmers. I mean, it was a serious community. Judith and Dan Davis are here.
Hey, Judith and Dan.
Dan, did you put a video out for today? Because I know this morning you said you were heading out to check those traps on that crazy piece of land that is just inundated with those beaver. My God. Yeah, here it is 2 hours ago. Beaver problem. First check day. Looks promising. I love the thumbnail. Nice big fat beaver. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And that one that I took the video of, we had a windstorm, 3-4 days before that? And it did the same thing. So I don't know who the linemen are for Central Hudson, the electric company anymore, but I don't think I trust them any farther than I can throw them. Not if their work blows up like that a day later. Hey, Deer Slayer, how are you?
Oh, Deer Slayer.
I took a ride up there on my way to work today, but I didn't see anything. I thought it was in development up on the hill that they put in within the last 10 years, but everything's underground. So I think it was the street farther over, closer to the museum farm that I like to go to. So I haven't gone over there to take a look yet. I'm actually taking a break from doing my schoolwork. I had to do 10 fact sheets, and I've had like a month to do them for my invasive species environmental course. And yeah, they're due on Monday. I have 10 fact sheets to do. Uh,
What up,
it's not
Angleraholics?
hard. I mean, I'll get it done. It's just a matter of concentrating. Then I've got my other class to work on, but it's kind of nice. I've been jonesing to do a live stream for a while. Anglerholics Fishing and Outdoor Adventures. Hello. What a
Wow.
great name for a channel. Anglerholics. I
Yeah.
love that. Very cool.
Thanks for coming in, bud. Yeah, Judith and Dan are always beating everybody.
And some of the things, I don't even know, Dan, if you notice some of the things you say or the way you say it, but you are hilarious out there. Great educator, great guide. You do a wonderful job, but just some of the ways you say things. I mean, you got me rolling sometimes, especially this morning with that one beaver dam. The one that you it was nothing but sticks and hardly any mud. You didn't want to take it apart.
Let's see.
I called up Cynthia's first two gobblers and first springs. Gobblers 2 springs back. Yeah, I read a story about that. Bill loves. Oh, there's Gio popped up. JV, what's the word on Amanda getting to the States and coming to the rendezvous? Yeah.
I'm not sure we're gonna make it that soon. We're working on. Let's just say we're working on it. There's a few hiccups we're running into. Of course, with everything going on in the world, it's not helping with getting her over here, but we're working on it. I have a buddy who is
Froze
a
up again,
state's
JV.
attorney
Darn it
here,
all. I hate it when that happens.
but he actually is getting all the paperwork together for me. There's a few other things we have to get loose ends tied up before she can even think about applying. So we're working on it, but unfortunately, I don't think she's going to be here in time for the rendezvous.
I'm
So
hoping to make it. If I can get that loan approved to buy gas and oil, I can make it. Terrible. What was the meme I saw today? The gas pump asked the customer if they wanted a receipt, and the answer was no. I'd like to forget this whole situation.
I tell you what, I wish I would have
What
came up
did
with
what did
that.
Bill have to say? Bill Schmidt is he hasn't really posted any videos on YouTube, but he does have a YouTube channel, and he's got such a penchant for turkey hunting. He's a turkey hunter aficionado. Let me see if I can get his link up in case anyone's interested. So what's going on? Yeah, I was kind of wondering on. Yeah, wouldn't that stink? Well, Rob was just on this morning. You know, that Shiner guy. Same thing. He had to take out the little boat, the little John boat, because he didn't want to put the gas in the bigger boat. I don't blame him.
Oh yeah, this year's fishing is going to be all my John boat with just the trolling motor. That's I'm going all electric this year for my boat.
All
The big
electric.
boat will probably stay parked most of the
Yep.
year.
Well, I think that's the whole idea all around, right? Make us all. I don't want an electric car. Did you see who the heck put it up? I think Tom Keltage put it up. It was a video of a guy who stopped along the side of the road to help some poor guy out, and he was carrying gas cans back to his electric car, because he had a gas-powered generator to recharge his electric car. I'm sorry. I don't know if anybody has the Grumpy Farmer. The Grumpy Farmer has a farm up by Lake Ontario. Great guy, Andy Dennison. I've been watching him for a couple of years now, and we had a really muddy season a few years ago, and he's got videos of it, getting these big combines stuck in the mud. I'm sorry, but an electric vehicle is not going to pull, you know, a $1 million combine out of mud like that. Just isn't going to happen. And then there's the carbon tax that these poor farmers have to deal with, that they're probably going to put on us. Yeah, Andy Dennison. I'd love to go up and visit him, and maybe get the power washer out, clean the mud off of his tractors.
Yeah, Judith and Dan, I wish I would have came up with those stickers, because whoever is selling those stickers is a millionaire right now. They can afford the gas.
The Biden stickers at the pumps are cool. Yeah, they'd be even cooler if people didn't try to peel them off. I could just imagine the opposing team so angrily scratching them off of there.
It's so funny, though, because as soon as they do, they get put right back up.
Yeah, you know, the Sunoco that I go to, they haven't been put back up yet, but I was thinking of maybe getting some and just keep plastering them. I could make my own, actually. I've got sticker paper here that I could run through my free Canon printer. Yeah, this is the thing about the electronics and such. The reason I got a free Canon printer from Best Buy is because not only did I go back twice, I had to make three trips, because the first two didn't work. And the reason they're not working is because they've just come in off the boat, where they've been sitting out on the Atlantic Ocean for months at a time. They're not hermetically sealed. There's a lot of dampness in there. So when I called the tech to tell them about both instances where they weren't working, they said, yeah, the docks are a mess. A lot of this electronic equipment has been compromised because it's been sitting out on the ocean. And here's another problem. When the guys who worked there either retired, left to go someplace else, and there's unskilled work out there. So they're literally taking bulldozers and pushing all these goods in one big pile off of the containers. So they're not in good shape. They're all being ruined in some way or the other. So when I went back for the third time to see if I could get a computer that worked, the young tech said, you know what? I'm going to give you your money back. I'm going to go in the back and see what I can find. And then you decide from there, and just take it home and see if it works. And it turned out to be a Canon Pixma. I think it's Pixma, the 4700 series. Man, it's got one little glitch. If you don't keep up with it when you send the work through to be copied through Wi-Fi, if you don't press the OK, when you go to do another job, it'll think it's still doing that prior job. And that's the only glitch it's got. Other than that, man, I tell you what, it's made my schoolwork so much easier, because I'll copy everything.
Is that the one? I just actually got a new Canon printer. It hasn't showed up yet.
Well, let's hope it hasn't been ruined on the cargo ship, because it's like the friggin' Wild West out there. It's like Dodge City on the docks. I got to wonder if any of the customs inspectors are even having a chance to look at anything, because they're in such a rush to get everything off.
Where is it?
Manufacturing process is worse on the environment. Yeah, it is, Al. I mean, look at what it takes to mine that. It takes diesel machines, gas-powered machines, to dig those holes in the earth to get those minerals out to make those batteries work. And like Judith and Dan Davis just said, the grid can't handle charging all those cars. I mean, yeah, look at what happens when we get a windstorm of 45 miles an hour, which is a lot. I mean, it takes out the whole area.
Is that the one you got?
Looks like it. Yeah. Is that rear? You can rear feed that, right?
I don't know. There we go. The camera.
Yeah, that looks like the one. I can't really read it, but oh Jesus, it froze. Yeah, mine is like 4700 series, but God, it's made my life so easy. Because I'm old school. I like everything in hard copy. I like to hold it in my hand and read it. If I have to go back and forth between PDF files and Word files and the online classwork, I'm like, oh, screw that. Hey, there's Tug Hill. Cool. I don't
Oh,
really know who
yeah.
Tug Hill is, but he showed up a while ago, and he's on my list of supporters, and he's got some really cool comments to make about some things on there. Yeah, 40,000 for battery. Yeah, it's crazy. When my brother was still in the car business and the electric cars came out, he said, just don't buy one. Hey, there's Heath.
What
Heath
up,
is here.
Heath?
So what's going on, Tug Hill? Heading to the Tug Hill shortly for oh yeah. Yeah, snowshoe hair up there. When I lived in Delaware County, we had snowshoes all over the place. I can tell it's going to be one of those most memorable trips ever. Oh yeah. Jesus. Isn't it? We shouldn't even have to think about this. I mean, Christ, we're turning into a third world country. We have been for a long time. It's going to be tough.
Yeah.
If you're not
I
doing
actually, I hate to say it, but I think just like when the Great Depression happened, I think it might be good for the country in a certain way that a lot of these millennials and
for the country in a certain way that
what are you doing over there?
millennials for the
Are
country
you trying to?
way
But this country almost kind of needs it. We're too spoiled. That's what the problem is in this country. Is
yeah,
is these millennials and all that stuff. They don't know how to have hard times. They think a hard time is their laptop or their phone going down. They've never had to cut firewood. They've never had to, go out and get their own food. They've never had to do any of that stuff. Everything's handed to them. So, but
yeah. I know, I see your point. In fact, even with the whole gas thing, I'm seeing a super long line at Starbucks. I'm not saying nobody has the right to go there, but there's like 1,000 hipsters in line, and the cars are all idling, and then you got people who, there's you can't really change this, but they got the big SUVs and such. They're still filling them up at the pump. So, people are going to adapt to it one way or the other, but I totally agree with you. And my mom said that for years. And she said, she was a Depression era baby.
Yep.
And she said, you kids, she's telling my brother and I, you're so lucky. You have no idea how lucky you are. And my brother and I don't know. I think Tom's made out better. I actually had a year where I lived in a single cab truck, and I did it out of spite. But let me tell you something, man. It teaches you so much, and it's hard living in a vehicle. Really hard. It will age you so fast. But I saved a ton of money, and it taught me how to be very, very frugal about things. I've always kept things close to the vest anyways. I'm a big money saver.
I used to be, but lately I've been giving my money to, well, for one, remodeling this house, but
Cool.
then, of course, trying to pay off the government and everything to get Amanda over here.
Wow, no kidding. I'm not going to ask you.
Yeah, you can never give them enough money.
It's such a shame. I got a friend up in Toronto, and she said, God, I wish you lived closer. I said, yeah, if we lived at the border, we could play chicken with the authorities. But I said, a couple years ago, 3 years ago, I was up there near the Canadian border, and the car ferry was right there. And I almost just naturally went onto it because I'm from the old school where you didn't even need a passport to get there.
Nope.
But everything about March 2020 has made life so much harder. You see what Al had to say?
Me too.
Moss is a lot nicer than oak leaves. I've used oak leaves, and it's It's not.
Moss
You know what else works? Yeah, moss is soft. You gotta
Moss
have a
is the
lot of it though.
Charmin of the outdoors.
It really is. You need a whole bunch of it though, because you don't want your finger going through it. But you know what? In a pinch, a stick work. In a pinch, a stick will work too. It's not quite as good as moss, but copper jacketed lead sounds cool. I want to know more about the moss.
Actually, you know it's a really good one? Milkweed. I don't know if you guys grow milkweed over there.
Yeah, we have it. It gets knocked out sometimes by the herbicides and some of the other invasives like the Phragmites and the common reed and all that. What's this, Bill? Walmart in Monroe. Monroe is a town that's about 12 miles from me, southeast. Still has a 2 only limit. Yeah, they've been doing that since March 2020. In fact, I thought most of the Walmarts took their hunting and fishing out, or at least their hunting. I know the one in Newburgh did. They said, yeah, we're not going to be doing that anymore. We don't want people coming in here who buy guns and ammo. Going down to Davis. Davis is a great store. They're down in Sloatsburg. I love going down there. They always seem to be stocked up on ammo. Right, Bill, but the last time I went down to get my little teeny tiny shells, oh my God, they went up almost $35. They were really expensive. Yeah, super. They're just trying to discourage us. Let's just price them out. They don't have to have any of these things.
For one, I've been stocking up for years, so I don't worry about it. But two, I shoot ammo that isn't, because everybody wants the 22s and everybody wants the 223s and the 308s. So I purposely, my small is a 17 HMR because that's hardly ever sold out. Plus the 30-30 and the 30-06 because I said everybody wants the other 3 ammos, and 243 can sometimes go either way, but yeah. So I go 30-30, 30-06, and 17 HMR, and I usually never have a problem picking up ammo because people ain't rushing to buy that.
That's cool. That's one of the reasons why, even though my 28 isn't going to take down a deer unless I learn how to do rapid fire with it and get really close, nobody's looking for 28 shells. But you know what? I could kick myself. I had my cousin a few years ago was cleaning out a house and he found a 12 gauge Mossberg that kicked like a mule. And it was unregistered. It just came out of this guy's house. The guy probably passed away. He probably bought it like back in the 80s. And I think it was an AT 500, if that makes any sense. I hope I'm right about that. But I went and gave it to a friend. And now I wish I'd kept it because that was the deer hunting rifle that I should have had. Yeah. Darn it. And it did kick like a mule because when he took it out, he went turkey hunting with me back in March or May 2020. And when he shot it for the first time, I mean, this guy was like 6'4", 200 some pounds. Man, I mean, his arm just went flying. He wasn't ready for it. I said, that's no pea shooter, you know. Look at Al. I tell you what, when the SHIT really hits the fan, I want to be on Al's team. He does not think inside a box.
Al, when he gets back, you'll just see me doing like the dogs. I'll be out in the front yard scooting my butt across the grass.
That takes a lot of agility, you know. 70 HMR and 300 Win Mag is my ammo of choice. And truckload of 9mm. Yeah, I was stocking up a whole bunch in 2020. And then last year when I went to look, the prices just went ballistic. I have plenty for the 22. And actually, the 28 is in pretty good shape. I've got some boxes of shells that have been sitting around for quite a few years now.
You're just a pile of food to me that at that point.
Oh my God. Ohio Hunting Outdoors. Hey,
What up,
nice to meet
Ohio? I just noticed somebody messaged me. Oh, it's Amanda.
So I'm hoping my career change will give me a chance to get out there. Like in tomorrow's video, I mean, when I found that fox den, I was like, oh my God, I gotta get out there and start doing this. I mean, I can picture it. You know, I see you guys do it, and I'm like, okay, in my geographical area, this is what I would do. And I would take his advice and I would do that. And I mean, I've got it all planned out. I just need to get my butt out there and find the time. Hey, there's Boxy.
Did Boxy just come in doing the hey you guys? You need to have the Superman shirt if you're gonna do it, Boxy.
I feel bad. I've been missing a lot of lives.
Yeah, me too. I actually miss Boxies all the time just because I do morning Bible study, then I do afternoon Bible study, and Sunday nights being Amanda's movie nights, I always take a nap after. Then I always miss Boxy's live.
Everybody's saying hi. Well, I was in a rhythm. You know who threw up my rhythm? Matt Wangry, because he's, you know, Daddy Duck 365. Everybody used to go in a row for me with the live streams, and he would start it, and then I'd go through to Sunday, and then he stopped doing it, and I don't know, it was weird. It's like he completely threw me off my schedule.
I've actually like I got a million videos to watch for everybody, but I've been trying to make my rounds. Like now that I'm finally getting back into a normal lifestyle, I've been just trying to go back and just do playlists of people like while I'm cooking and stuff like that, and just try to knock out a bunch of videos. So if I haven't been watching your videos for a while, people, I'm getting to them. You will be on my playlist eventually. You'll start to see, and then one day you'll get like 20 comments from me.
No problem. Completely understood. And Al's still on the moss. Smart man.
Well, you know, the
Smartest
moss
man.
does go bad and start getting crusty, and then it's
It
more like
does.
a Brillo pad, and it's not Charmin anymore.
You got to keep it fresh. You got to keep it in a glass jar or something. Keep it in the refrigerator, but then take it out like an hour before you use it. So, guys, I know Tom Ritter is the knife guy, and he gave me some advice on how to tighten up a sheath. I have this custom-made knife that was a birthday present. It's a monogrammed knife, and I can't get it to stay in the sheath. Now, Tom Ritter suggested that I soak the sheath for
I
a
was
good,
just going to say
good
the same
long
thing.
time.
Yep.
And I did. I soaked it for probably, I don't know, maybe it was too short. I soaked it for about 3 or 4 days. Is that too short of a time?
How quickly did you? It's leather though. It's a leather sheath.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you should soak it, but then you got to dry it fast. Like put it over heat.
Oh. So I
Yeah.
have a pilot light on my stove. I have an old-fashioned stove with a pilot light. Do you think, without turning it on, just the heat from the pilot light, would that be enough, or can I put it in the oven? Because they always stay at a certain temperature, the pilot light stoves.
Yeah, the pilot light might work. And the big thing though is keep your knife in it because it might shrink too much.
Right. And Tom said to clamp it, and I have little clamps.
Yeah.
And I tried that, but yeah, I'm just gonna have to do it again because I love this knife. Hang on a second. I'm gonna give you a pretty view. I'll be right back. Thanks for holding down the fort, JB. Yeah, this is the knife.
I think I
All
have that same sheet.
handmade. But look at that.
Oh yeah, that's
It
loose.
comes right out. So this is the sheath. Gorgeous work. And you can see where I clamped it last time. You know, I'm not too worried about that, but that's where I put the clamps on when I wet it. And that's the back. There's the clamp marks. And then this is the knife.
You don't even have to clamp. You know, like because you're really clamping it on there. You could I can't even think of what it's called right now.
Thank you, Ohio. Oh, thank you for the compliment, Boxy. Gift from a friend from Canada. My house is cold and it keeps me warm. I love it. I can't wear it outside New York, though. They'll either spray paint me or they'll gang up on me and try to kill me for wearing it. This is Southern New York, the home of the snowflake.
And that's why I said I can't come visit you. I'll go to jail, or or they'll end up finally. I'll go to jail, or they'll end up finally overtaking me.
But you know what? Even Bill Schmidt on here, he'll probably agree with me. If you go 8 miles west of me, you're going to find people just like us. But it's all, I swear to God, from New York City and Long Island, both sides of the Hudson River, which I'm on one of those sides. It's a blue strip, blue line, all the way up to Albany, and then you go in any direction in either side of the river, west or east, and you're hitting red country, and I mean serious red country. But it's all situated right in here, and it's really a shame.
Yes.
Oh, I do too, Bill. You know, I miss the gun shows the way they used to be. You used to be able to go in and haggle. And Gio and I were talking about that last summer. I mean, now they hit you up for parking. They hit you up for an entrance fee. The NRA is sitting there looking for your money. And then you walk in, and I mean, I found a 410 over under that was almost like a sawed off. And I fell in love with that thing. But the guy wanted so much money for it. So I thought, okay, maybe I'll haggle with him. He's like, no, price is firm.
You guys
And I
need to
know
come to South Dakota. We have gun shows like every weekend in a different town. And yeah, it's free
Really?
parking. You just come in and yeah, you walk right up. And yeah, it don't take nothing to buy them. Of course, you guys are out of state though, so you can't just buy them and walk out.
I know. And I should have gotten my carry. What is it? There's a guy here in Newburgh who will help you get the Utah carry so that I can go outside of New York and pretty much carry a gun anywhere. Oh, Tug Hill says hunted hare in Delaware County. Yeah, plenty of them up there. Lots of porcupines too. Also in all over New York State, but Tug Hill is the absolute honey. It is, man. Tug Hill Plateau. It's the Western Adirondacks, the finest powder east of the Rockies. And it is the forest primeval. I swear to God, there are mastodons still living up there. What an amazing place. You'll see it, JV, if you ever get over here to visit some of the Adirondack YouTubers. You may not be in the Tug Hill specifically because that's a very special area geographically and environmentally.
I really want to get up in the Adirondack.
Adirondacks are amazing.
I so badly want. I want to do like a 2-week just backpack trip. Just go up into the and not come out for 2 weeks. Just me and my backpack.
Yep. Just watch out for the moose because they're pretty damn stupid and they'll run you up a tree and come right after you.
No, I trust me. I'm used to northern Minnesota. We got moose up there too.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
People are like, aren't you afraid of bears and stuff? I'm like, no, bears don't scare me a bit. What scares me are moose because for some reason they hate humans. Bears, unless you startle them or they're really hungry, they ain't gonna bother you. A moose,
no, or
all you gotta do is look at it the wrong way, and it's out to kill you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been skiing up. I haven't gone for the past couple of years, but I've been skiing up in Osceola, which is in the Tug Hill. Tug Hill knows it's near Pulaski. Tug Hill. I don't know if you remember Hugh Quinn. He finally retired and sold the cross country ski center in Osceola. Osceola is famous for its turtle races in June. But I remember going up there in April around Easter, and there was still like 300 inches of snow, and I was skiing around with a friend, and we were way the heck up there on the side of the mountain, and the first thought that comes to him was, what do we do if we see a moose? I said, get the hell off your skis and climb a tree.
Yep.
And don't worry about anything else. Just get up that tree because he will kill you.
Yep.
Oh, Greg says he wants to go back to Watkins Glen Gorge and oh yeah, my cousin lives up there. She's 12 miles southeast of Ithaca. In fact, I have a video about the Ithaca Gorge area and all the falls up there. We used to go to Watkins Glen back in the day to see the car races. I'm sure you know about that.
So that's what's so sad about some of these places I don't want to go just because of the people. The country is so, like, even California. Man, would I love to go to some of those places in California, but you ain't going to catch me in their state. I just ain't going. Yeah. It's just.
All the fruits and nuts are out in California. Yeah, I mean, the mountain, like, look at the, what is it, the Pacific Crest Trail? Oh, my God. It
takes 6
I would love to
months
see some of that.
Yeah.
What did Boxy say? Ohio's governor, I heard, did a sign for Ohio residents' constitutional carry bill. Okay. I will be up for vote. That's good. I'm glad to hear that.
We've had it here for years in South Dakota. We have constitutional open and concealed carry.
Well, that's because people in South Dakota don't cry over everything.
No, we're made of farmers and ranchers. The only place that's kind of bad is Sioux Falls. You know, but that's, you know, it's the same size as New Orleans. It's not even that big. It's like 300,000 people.
Craig said he's been trying to get a 35 Remington for 2 years. You know what somebody gifted me with last year? Remington 66. It was sold by Sears in the catalog. It's a brown white nylon diamond 22. Oh man, I love that gun, but I can't use a rifle when I hunt. I can only use a shotgun unless I go to a different part of the state, in which I'm going to have to hope that loan gets approved so I can buy my gasoline.
Well, Bill, I edit way too many. Well, I used to. Now I don't edit as many videos because I haven't done a whole lot. But when I am finally back to it, I edit a lot of videos. And trust me, it is so much easier to do on a computer than it is your phone.
Oh, it is. It is. In fact, this time my iPad was starting to get worn out, and I was doing some iMovies on that, and that was okay. And I didn't really use anything else. And sometimes you might see me use KineMaster and InShot. But this time when I upgraded, I got the Samsung tablet. Wow, what a difference. I mean, this thing is just adaptable to any of these video makers. And yeah, it's got the watermark. I'm just not interested in paying for it. I'm just having fun, like throwing the music in there and speeding things up and chopping things into pieces. What is Al up to again? Al, my neighbor who owns a lumber mill across the stream here, same thing. I'm not even going to say who he is. In New York, no less. He's been carrying without a PERMIT, and nobody has ever said anything to him. Identified. Unbelievable.
Later, Wookie.
Take care, Wookie. Thanks so much for coming in. And JV, thanks for drawing these people in. This is great. I mean, I'm seeing some people on here I haven't seen in months.
Yeah, try.
You're always a good drawer. What'd you say? PI all my life. Gio said, first time I ever went to see the Kenzo. Yeah, that's a really cool place. What was that? I think it was Jeff who turned me on to that on Facebook. He was sending me a bunch of links to it. It's an old railroad bridge, right? Oh, the Kinzu Dam. Yeah, isn't that near the railroad bridge? Or there's a trestle? I might have that wrong. Kinzu Dam. Oh, it actually got it right. I get lazy sometimes, especially when I'm looking things up for school. I use the mic all the time. No, that's not the trestle. And I'm not thinking of Strucka either. Strucka is over my way. That was the Erie. What did PA have to say? Okay, I know my guns and I know a few others, but what exactly are you talking about, PA? Can anybody explain that to me?
A 35
Oh,
Remington bump action.
yeah, I'm Googling it right now
Oh.
because I want to be in the loop.
That'll probably explain it better than I will. And you'll get a picture.
Well, that while you're talking, I can look at the picture. From what I can see, that's a beautiful gun. A really pretty gun. That's nice. I would love a Henry.
You know, that's actually one. Like, I want the Henry 44.
Yeah.
That's one I don't have that I'd actually really like to get, but I don't know. I just sometimes I have a hard time spending money on things I should buy, but then I'll buy stupid stuff off Amazon.
It's not hard to do. Wow, PA, that's a beautiful gun. Yeah, see, now I want one of those. I have one Remington. It needs a friend. It's a pain in the neck. Do you have to register your guns out there, JV?
No, we can buy them at garage sales.
That's nice, man. I mean, well, like my cousin found that really nice old Mossberg that worked like a charm, just needed a little cleaning. We can do stuff like that, but they don't want us to. They want us to actually turn ourselves in and get it registered, just like Nazi Germany.
None of my stuff is registered. Well, no, my kids' were because I bought them all brand new ones from the store when they got old enough to be able to hunt. So
wow,
the boys' are all registered in my name, but it's not even registered. Like we don't have to, you just have to fill out the form at the store and they call, get the okay that it's okay for me to buy it.
You mean the FBI?
Yeah.
I've been checked out so many times by the FBI because I used to work with the church down in Highland Falls, not too far from here. And we had the biggest concession stand at West Point for the Army football games. So before you went to do that, it was all volunteer. And the money went to the Canterbury Club, which is a group for the cadets who come into West Point who might be missing their family, or maybe they don't have any family and they feel kind of disconnected. But yeah, every time we went there, I've been checked out so many times. I've seen that, Al. I remember when you did a video on that. That was cool.
That was probably one of the coolest things people have done with one of my giveaways. Is you put that scope on that gun, and the scope was almost bigger than the gun.
Oh, Craig, are you saying Henry? Is that what you mean by that?
What up, 922 Crappie?
We don't even have any turkey down here, Tug Hill. Jeez. When I was out, usually you see footprints, you might see a feather here and there. I haven't seen anything in almost 2 years. I had one kind of held up I was like on the edge of a field and he was like down the slope of it. And I could hear him going back and forth, kind of clucking a little bit. I couldn't get him to come in, but at least I got some action. And then when I talked to the ENCON cops, the environmental conservation policemen for the state land that I hunt on, they said, we've been seeing a turkey, but we think it's the same turkey all the time.
I can legally carry that. You're gonna have to wear like one of those big mafia jackets if you're gonna try to conceal that thing.
with the big sawed off underneath it.
Yeah.
Or like they did in the 1920s with the big old Tommy guns. Was that something else, or a Gatling gun, man? I've always been fascinated with a Gatling gun. That is amazing. That's a lot of power.
That's a lot of money to spend, but I'd like to do it just once. Just sit there.
Yeah.
That's gonna cost a lot of money for 5 minutes of fun, but It'd be worth every dollar.
That's right. Well, my cousin, I haven't really talked to him in a couple of years, but he's the one who gave me that really nice Mossberg that I gave away to someone else, and I hope he's enjoying it. But I'm pretty sure he's got a Gatling gun, an antique one. Cecilia's here. Cecilia's here. How you doing? Isn't that the truth, Mark? But that's a
Gotta
good
love
thing.
Al. Gotta love Al. It's one of my favorite
That's
people.
what happens when you have a talented, artistic mind.
Al, you keep me up on my Bible readings. You don't even know it. I use L Outdoors sticker as my bookmark in my Bible for my Bible readings.
Speaking of that logo, Daniel designed that, I believe, right? Al, I'm pretty sure he did. I haven't seen him in a while. He was supposed to do the Backyard Barbarian, but I think I checked him about a week or so ago to see what was going on, and things were kind of quiet. He got busy.
He's no, he's really not happy right now.
Right.
He's going with all the stuff going on in Canada. Daniel's having a real hard time with it because he's he works in the military.
Right. I thought
and,
so.
He's having a real torn situation with his life right now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to be faithful to something that requires blind faith, but yet they're lying up a storm to you.
Yeah.
I don't know how he's putting up with that. So whatever happened to our truckers for freedom in the USA? They're supposed to be making their way to Washington, D.C., and the last thing I saw was they were like some converging convoys coming together heading to D.C., but the news here, they're not going to cover it.
Well, of course they ain't going to cover it. Why would they? You're going to have to look on social media, and they're going to try to block it as much as they possibly can.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, that I wouldn't want to be in that position. I mean, there's a lot to be said about the military. They can teach you an awful lot. It's pretty socialistic. They take care of their own. But in times like this, holy cow, what do? You can't pledge allegiance to someone who's just selling an entire nation up the river.
Exactly. Well, and I have buddies that they're all in the military and stuff like that, and they're always the one thing I can say good about most of them is they're like, we are the United States military. We are to stand for the Constitution. We're not the military for some nut job in the office. He said if he's going against the Constitution, but that's also why I think the government made all these other little, like why does the Department of Education need so many rounds of ammo that they bought back in Obama's administration? Why does, they're making their own private armies. That way, if things do go down, most of our military ain't going to go against the citizens. So they've made their own little private government armies that you don't know that are out there, that when things do go down, you're not going to be fighting the military. You're going to be fighting the Department of Education and the Department of Transportation and the Department of where all these stockpiles of ammo and guns and everything. And well, look at when that rancher was down in where was that rancher? I can't even remember. Was it Arizona when they tried to? But it wasn't like military that showed up. There was some police there, but then what department was it that showed up? And they were heavily armed with bulletproof vests. And
I can't remember. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Judith, and absolutely. This entire when this first happened. Now, my mother studied law at Columbia University. She did not become a lawyer because she saw what the life would be like, especially in the late 50s, early 60s. And if anybody ever watched Mad Men on AMC, which is now on Prime, That, of course, that was Madison Avenue advertising, but that was the whole scope of a woman in the workplace. It was tough, but she learned a lot, and she taught Tom and I a lot. And when this first happened, the first thing that popped in my head was disaster, fraud, and that's all the whole thing has ever been. Mandates are not laws. They're not orders of discipline. They are nothing but suggestions, and that's all they are. And this whole thing about how you're guilty of being sick before proven innocent, that is so insane. I mean, that's like a whole new thing. It's not even like school where you had to have a note for being out sick. It's like you're sick because I think you might be. So I'm going to discriminate against you because I was told that it was okay to do that. The whole thing is so crazy.
You all know I'm a very Christian man, and I've studied the Bible for years. I used to be a pastor, and I truly believe this whole thing was a test run for something.
Yes, it was.
They got most of the world to comply.
Yes, they did. Very easily, too.
Mm-hmm. All they had to use was scare tactics.
Right.
And the whole world bowed down pretty quickly.
And I hate to say it, I've noticed over the years, I mean, people are afraid of the weather. They're afraid of any kind of change. They basically live in a box, maybe about that big. And so they've been with all the PC and the tolerance. Well, you can't think this and you can't think that, and there's no freedom here, there, without actually saying you're losing your freedom. And then this happens. They were primed. They were already conditioned to believe something like that. I never believed any of it from the start because, and you can still find it on YouTube. Let me see if I can find the link. 1976, I was in 6th grade. And guess what? The swine flu pandemic. Everybody go get a shot, because if you don't, you could get on an airplane and be infected and not know it. And you can go to another city and kill everybody there. This was 1976. And when this first came out, that's the first thing that popped into my head. And the videos, the commercials, I'm thinking in today's terms, the commercials for it popped back into my head, and they were disgusting. Absolutely horrible. They had jingles to them, singing about getting arm jabs and this, that, and it's just terrible. But I mean, I already had experience with it, so I was like, oh great, here we go again. But I had no idea the entire world was going to fall for this.
Oh yeah, it's easy. They have trained everybody, especially first world countries. We put up the most fight, but just think third world countries. You go to a third world country and say, either you take this shot or you can't buy food, you can't. They're already starving, already having a hard enough time. They're going to do whatever the hell they get told to do.
Right. Because they're all about surviving.
Exactly.
There it is right there. I just put it up. Check it out. Mike Wallace investigation. That was back when the press went after the wrongdoers, and they actually protected the public.
Well, that's been a long time ago.
Yeah. 1976. I mean, I was just a kid then, and Mary Tyler Moore got wrapped up into it, and I think she's the one who was the camel who broke the straw that broke the camel's back, because when they, without her permission, dragged her name into it, and she was very sick with a type of diabetes that eventually killed her, and it made her miserable most of her life. She lived over here up in Pleasant Valley, I think, up in Columbia County. My mom knew her from Central Hudson, from working the phones at Central Hudson, because when the power went out, which it always has around here, she would call up yelling and screaming, get my power back on. Don't you know I'm sick? And everybody was very sympathetic towards her about it. But when she was dragged into this in 1976, that's when it blew the whole thing apart. And then all of a sudden it just stopped, because she was a big celebrity. That's a huge libelous lawsuit there, using my name. and you didn't ask my permission. I can sue you for that. And that's what quieted the whole thing down. And then they tried a whole bunch of them. I mean, I'm sure you remember Ebola.
Oh, I remember.
We had a couple of swine. We had another
Bird
swine.
flu to
Bird flu.
H1N1, H1N1. Yeah.
H1N1. This is actually supposed to be H1N2. So, but I would like to see. I don't want to hear about a computer generated analysis. I don't want to hear about any of that crap. What I would like to see is an actual petri dish with that virus inside of it. And I don't mean like, monkey kidney virus and crap like that. They've never actually taken a virus out of a person. I want to see this actual virus because they talk about it like it's real, and it's really nothing but a big fairy tale. And some people, especially around here, they have latched onto it and it has become an obsessive mental illness, and it's so unhealthy. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, if you have to do it for your job, you got to do it for your job. But I still see people driving around their cars alone with a mask on. And the first thing I can think is that person is completely psychotic. Anybody who's still wearing one of those. I don't know if I ever mentioned it, but I actually tried wearing one like for 4 days back in, I think it was April, when they really started to push the mask. And I said, oh, okay. I put one on for like 4 days. I got a staph infection on my face. Yeah, Al, I bet you got enough stories for a book. I would love to hear some of those stories. But my eye is still messed up from it because I got a staph infection. And that's a normal reaction to smothering yourself. We're not supposed to smother ourselves.
Again, I thank God I live where I live because
you are so lucky. Because
our governor is not retarded.
I'm still being attacked. I was blacklisted, which I can sue for if I could, find a lawyer who would want to do it. It was defamation of character. It's illegal to stop anyone from working and earning a living. Absolutely illegal. All of this is. And I mean, the people who blacklisted me, I couldn't get into public buildings. I couldn't get a hold of records. I couldn't interview people. And I mean, total discrimination. The whole thing was. It's terrible. Al, I want to know more about that. Doesn't everybody think Al should write a book? I think he should. If I had the time, Al.
I don't have enough time to read that long of a book. I'll be right back. I gotta use the restroom.
No problem. It does not exist. No virus sample. Yeah, and it never will. It's a computer generated model. They made it up. But you can't tell anybody that. You can't tell them, especially not around here, because they want to believe that. I guess they had nothing else, and this was the only thing that they had to latch onto. It's really a shame. So what else is going on, folks? Oh, what do you do? Crazy is kind of sick. Saints. Al, you're crazy, man. I'm writing one, but I need help. I'm just too busy. Well, my cousin is a professional editor. She just took on another, 23,000 words. Okay. Sounds good. She just took on another contract. Trying to make this as easy and as smooth as possible. She's very private too, and I hate to say it, she's not red, she's blue. I don't know if I completely forgive her for that, but stories like yours might turn on that whatever that is in the brain, those synapses that trigger them, and that might be an issue. If I had the time, I would surely do it. I'm not a professional, but I do a lot of writing, and I would love to take a crack at ghostwriting that. Or at least editing it. takes a long time. It's a lot of work. I'm out of practice from reading. God, school is getting me back into it, especially with this extra class. But wow, I mean, I used to read a book a week. I'd get up early in the morning before I went to work and dig into a book. And if she's blue, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Her father was a Jewish businessman, very, very crafty, and he was red, and her brother is red. But she seems to be leaning towards that. So she still has the experience and exposure to the father and the brother. But well, you know how it works. They don't really get it, which is the same. A lot of things are tongue in cheek, and you just can't take the world too seriously. Take it with a grain of salt. It's not the end of the world. I don't know. Who knows? She might enjoy it. Yeah, hit the thumbs up. I did before I got started tonight. I always give my videos a thumbs up. I figure it I don't know if it helps with the algorithm. I don't even know if the algorithm exists. I don't know if it's manipulated or natural. But yeah, I always give myself a thumbs up. It's almost like, hit the thumbs up, job well done. Hey, there's Cal. Hey, if nobody has Cal's Treks and Trails, you got to check him out. Cal, it's nice to see you. I'm glad you came in. Your voice is like perfect ASMR. Like when you were at the cabin describing you got a great voice for videos. And that cabin was adorable, by the way. I really enjoyed checking that out. Just too bad all those houses were around. Oh, and Bill Schmidt's a writer too. He's written some nice books. I have not read them yet. Bill, do you have, let's see. Can you put up a link for that, just in case anybody's interested? I think yours are electronic. I can't remember who it is who. You're welcome, Cal, anytime. Tom Ritter turned me on to you, and I'm glad he did.
Hi, Cal.
Isn't Cal great? I was just saying, I love listening to his voice. He's one of those people, kind of like Christopher Walken. I could listen to read the phone book. Let's get Cal up there. Oh, I just want to warn everybody.
Visit Tom Ritter. I haven't talked to him for a while.
Tom's cool. Boy, he can play a mean guitar. It's too bad that the internet connection sucks so bad. We were at the Pump House and in New York there when we did a live stream last year when he was playing live. Most of it came through. But yeah, Tom's pretty cool for a crayon eater.
Me and him have been friends for a long time.
Yeah, Tom's been around. Well, actually, I've been around YouTube for years, but I didn't do a channel until 2 years ago. But I think you both have been around at least 10 years, right?
It's been a lot. I don't even remember when I started anymore. Because I had a different account before this one, and then this account was JV Hunting for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. Then it's been JV Outdoors for like the last 2 years.
Oh, I was going to say something. Cal, you made me think of it because of the prepping and all that. The rice is a great idea. In fact, I got a hankering for rice, as far as survival and putting food away. Because we don't know when the supply chain might have a hiccup in it or whatever.
That's one of the biggest things I tell people. Quit going to the store and buying up all the meat and all the eggs and everything that's going to go bad.
Exactly.
Get yourself some pasta, get yourself some rice, get yourself some oatmeal, get yourself some stuff that's going to last forever. All you got to do is add water.
This is the thing. I remember when I know there's many of them, Cal. You'll probably bring up some of them. Yeah, there you go. Judith and Dan Dave. Canned meat. There's nothing wrong with canned meat. It's food. It doesn't have to be pasture raised, grass fed, perfectly organic, blah, blah, blah. It's food. So grab it. Canned water is supposed to be better than bottled water, plastic bottled water. It's got a longer shelf life. But when all this first started to happen, and some of these companies, like especially My Patriot Supply, came out, I thought about it and I said, okay, that looks like a lot of money for that. Cal just did a couple of videos about some companies he found that are more economically feasible. But my second biggest concern, and this is my most important one, are the ingredients. Well, I'm looking at hardtack, absolutely. It's nourishing. It's nourishing. So there's nothing wrong with that. I got off track. Irene, come on over and you can.
I'm one of those guys who did do I waste the money on the totes of the free dried food. And why? I could spend $1,000 and get a half year supply for one person every once in a while. And now I've been doing it for a long time. I said, me and my two daughters, if things go bad, all three of us are good for a year and a half as we stand right now for food. And
no kidding.
Another thing to stock up on, people, get those water pills, get a filter, stuff like that. Stock up on them. That's a good one. If y'all watch my videos, I drink right out of the river all the time. I drink right out of mud puddles. Because I have all the stuff that and I never get sick, anything like that. It all works.
Well, here's my concern about some of those more pricey ones. Look at the ingredients. The ingredients list will kill you. There were some other things in there like ascorbic acid, which is a chemical synthetic something or another that they call vitamin C, but it is not. But my main concern, and it took me almost 2 years to find it, is the ferric pyrophosphate. And that is the black goo that they're talking about with the clot shot. It's used usually for people who have kidney problems, severe diabetes, and it should only be used under direct doctor care. It should not. It's not just something you just arbitrarily put into somebody. And
a lot of stuff.
I would be really, really careful about that. Like everybody's saying, get the rice, get the canned food, stuff like that. You'll be fine with all that.
But still, even with it's our food is so genetically wrong
modified
in America. That's why we all have diabetes and stuff like that.
Well, they're nutritionally deficient. That's why diabetes is basically lack of copper, and we're not getting nearly as much copper as we're supposed to because we used to eat animal organs. I still eat liver. I go to my butcher and I'll buy a giant cow liver for like $60, and I'll come home and cut it up into little pieces. Oh, the graphene oxide? Yeah, that's how.
I don't like liver and onions. I just like regular liver. I don't want no onions on it. But
the liver is nature's it's nature's multivitamin. And if you don't like to eat the liver, just get desiccated liver.
That's actually one thing, I told people about that here in South Dakota. If you go to the reservation and you go hunting with the natives over there from the Sioux tribe, that is still one thing they always do. If you kill like a mule deer or a buffalo or something like that, first thing you do is you take the liver out and everybody takes a bite of the liver right out of the animal. Yep.
The only thing I can't handle are kidneys, man. I've tried and I've tried to eat kidneys, and I'm like most people are about liver. I'm like, oh my God. I mean, I actually managed to get one kidney down that wasn't too pissy, but I mean, yes, you can boil it out, you can soak it in milk. I can still detect it. My sense of smell is just too damn strong. And kidneys are good.
And you know what? Truthfully, in the Old Testament, when they did the sacrifices on the altar and then the priest had to eat it, one of the things they took out that the priests weren't supposed to eat were the kidneys.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe that's why I'm so opposed to it, because it's just, that's right. I forgot about that. And anything that swims, I don't think we're supposed to eat that either, right, JB?
No, it's without scales. But again, that's Levitical
Without
law. We don't live in the Levitical law anymore. But
right.
yeah, so like catfish and stuff like that, you weren't supposed to eat back then. Yeah, eels, if it didn't have scales, you weren't supposed to eat it.
Right. So what's going on in the chat?
No Rocky Mountain. The sad thing is if you don't know what Rocky Mountain oysters are, they're actually pretty tasty. But once you know what they are, because I used to eat them when I was a kid, not knowing what they were. And then I grew up to know what they were, and now I just can't eat them knowing what they are.
I'm willing to try them. Hey, if it's edible, why not, right?
They're not bad. They're actually pretty good. My buddy, I've been in YouTube for a while, and I used to hang out with a guy. His name's Richard, but his channel was the Hog Zone, and he actually still sponsors my channel with his seasonings and stuff. When you all see the steak seasonings and stuff, that's my buddy Hog Zone. But if you ever go hunting with Mr. Hog Zone, if you kill a big boar, he deep fat fries the oysters and you have to eat them with him. And he calls them, what are they? Huevos rancheros cojones. That's what he calls them. And so if you want to hunt with them, you have to eat them if you kill a big boar. And let's just say, cows, not so bad, but I mean, the pig ones kind of taste like, especially those wild boars, it kind of tastes just like mud. Yeah, the gritty.
Oh, yeah?
Yuck. I'm not a big fan of them. I hate them just to say I did it, but nah.
That's cool. You see what Al said here? The gallbladder. When I was a kid, my grandmother, it was like 1968, and my mom said, "Come on, Irene, we got to take grandma to the doctor." She didn't have a car. She grew up in Elmira, New York. She was born like 1890. She rode a horse. She didn't drive a car, even though she married a mechanic later who worked on Model Ts and Model As. But we had to take grandma to the doctor because her thyroid was bothering her. So we leave the doctor's office, took like 2 minutes to get in and get out. And she said to my mom, her name was Irene too. She said, "Irene, could you drive me to the Grand Union?" Sure. So we drive over to the Grand Union. She goes to a section of the butcher section that was, I think it was sweetmeats or sweetbreads. It was sweetbreads. And they were things like gallbladder, spleen, thyroid. And she picks up a thyroid, takes it home and cooks it and eats it. And she was fine. That was her prescription. It wasn't some nasty chemical pill that made you dependent for the rest of your life. That's what they always said when I was growing up. The organ is bothering you, eat the organ. If you have a problem with the organ, eat the organ.
That's one of the problems I always say in America. Like I said, we're a spoiled country. In other countries,
they really are.
Not even second thought to do this stuff. They use every bit of the animal.
Absolutely. Like, there you go, Mark. Those are some big ones too.
Yeah.
that red squirrel that I got on my last small game hunt. Oh my God! I was actually filming the cleaning of it, and I was gonna show his nutsack. It was freaking huge. He was a great big male. But the organs and stuff. Like, I remember some years ago, there was a video circulating around Facebook of an Oriental woman who walked up to a bush in a garden, pulled out a bird's nest, and started eating the baby birds. Well, guess what? It wasn't no less than 200 years ago that we were eating songbirds. What?
They did it all the time.
Yeah. I mean, what was that song that used to go around? I think it was a 17th century song, 8 and 20 blackbirds baked in a pie. That was true. That wasn't fictional.
Exactly.
We ate bird. I've seen cows in the barnyard eat baby sparrows and baby goldfinch, and I've actually seen a deer eat a baby bird, like a robin. Like, you know, the
Literally.
robins get out of the nest and they run around the yard. I mean, well, we used to have a lot more deer in the yard, but things changed because of the dogs next door. But I remember seeing one of them hopping around, calling for its mother. All of a sudden, the deer walks over, chop.
Yep. The
Perfectly
craziest
natural.
thing I ever saw in my life, and the whole time I've been out in the outdoors, and I've seen some crazy animal antics, but the craziest thing I ever saw was my daughter was with me. There was this rabbit and a couple robins out in the grass, and all of a sudden the rabbit just grabbed the robin and shook it and threw it up in the air out of nowhere. My daughter couldn't believe. I couldn't believe it. I'd never seen. I was like, "What the hell did that robin say to the rabbit?" I just pissed it off that bad.
Isn't that something? I've seen a horse do that to a foal. I've seen a gelding do that to a what? I don't think he was a stallion. I think he was a gelding, because that's the reason why he was in the paddock with the mare who had the baby, because he was a little more calmer. And there were several of them. They're older ones, and he grabbed this baby horse, same thing, by the neck, and shook him until his neck broke. So I gotta wonder. I don't know. Maybe the rabbit was being territorial, but rabbits are like. I mean, to me, rabbits are like made to be eaten by everything. They're food for everything.
I've never seen a rabbit. I've seen rabbits fight each other over stuff, but I've never seen a rabbit attack another animal. That was the craziest thing I ever saw. And a bird too. And the bird was minding its own business, just hopping around like it normally does.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I wonder if the rabbit went back and ate it later.
I wish I would have had the camera rolling, but you know, it's one of those things you just don't even think to have the camera rolling. It's something so mundane you see all the time.
Right, exactly. But yeah, I mean, so many things. They've convinced us that so many things are evil and so bad, and they're not.
They're not. No.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely
always
not.
tell people I keep my dog fat for a reason. Things get real bad. Charlie's going in the pot.
I'm not kidding. Yes, we love our animals, and no, that's not mean, because when I had 4 cats here, I used to tell them, look, at, you know, when they would act up and beat each other up and knock something out, I said, look, guys, you're emergency food, and don't forget that.
Exactly.
They all died. They all got stringy and old and died of old age. So, in fact, I have a video coming out about it. It's actually in memory of a fantastic, amazing veterinarian that I had at one time. But yep, that's what I used to tell them. The SHIT hits the fan, I'm going to be cooking me up some pussycat. We were brainwashed, not so much spoiled. Yes, brainwashed, absolutely. Carnivore diet is the best diet for most, if not all. We really, you know, I tried that with the vegetables. I thought I was doing myself a favor. I had a period of time where, I don't know, I was weak or something, but I thought, okay, maybe .gov is right, and I'm going to try the vegetables. Broccoli, kale, cabbage, they all come from the wild mustard plant. They are all man-made, and they all come from one wild plant, but they're not wild anymore. Did you know that grapefruits are completely man-made? They're not found in nature anywhere. And I mean, just think about it. Where do you see a broccoli plant in nature? You don't. Where do you see a kale plant in nature? And kale is so toxic. If it's from the rape family, and if the sheep get into it, it'll kill the sheep. I don't want to eat that crap. I'd rather eat a cow or eat a sheep. A sheep is actually good, or a goat, whatever, you know. Have some butter with it, maybe some lettuce. You got to be real careful with the organic stuff too, because they're using reconstituted sewage water. I'm hoping that's a lie, but it probably isn't. But they say that that's what they're using to water these plants. It's reconstituted sewage. Unbelievable. If a hawk sees a dead bird and a live rabbit, he will eat the bird. Smart rabbit.
Well, that might be true. We do have. Well, we don't have hawks, but I do have two bald eagles that live out on the property. So maybe that's what the rabbit was doing. He's keeping himself alive by leaving food for the eagles.
Throwing out some bait. You never know. Did you see you ever read Watership Down? It was the book about a rabbit's culture and society. It was an interesting book. It was basically a political book, but it was it also became a cartoon later, a hand-drawn cartoon before computer graphics. But it was basically about the political government system that we live in. But they used rabbits to represent it. It was really very interesting. Yeah, most of my birds are gone because the hawk, the red-tailed hawk, the Cooper's hawk, and the peregrine falcon and the sparrowhawk came in, the American kestrel. And boy, they wiped. I had like, my neighbor's wife is like Brian. We had like 5 cardinal pairs. Now we have 1. And I think it's just the male because they're snagging all of them. Hey, saves on a lot of bird seed.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you should see the eagles. I mean, I've watched them grab turkeys, like big old turkeys walking out, and you think nothing, coyotes will get them, but whatever. No, I've watched those eagles. They'll come flying out and smack that turkey, kill it, and pick it up and fly away with it. And it's like, wow. They are a majestic bird. I love watching the eagles. Anytime I'm out there and the eagles are hunting, I just sit still and watch. I love watching them.
Bingo, Judith and Dan Davis. I remember when that first started happening. What was that? Probably 20 years ago. I remember the first time. I can't remember what it was. It was some kind of green vegetable, and they were like, "Oh, don't buy it because it's full of crap." And I remember hearing people say, "Well, the reason it's like that is because of the migrant workers. They don't wipe, and they use their hands to wipe with, and then they handle the vegetables." It's like, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense because it still goes through a process. It's something deeper. And then I found out later that it was reconstituted sewage water. Oh, God, don't even. Yeah, we're not ruminants. That's all there is to it. We're just not ruminants. We don't have a fourth stomach that we have to make work. We have one. In fact, our digestive system is closer to Charlie's than it will ever be to a deer or a cow. How is Charlie, by the way?
Actually, he seems to be, I don't know, like he's still not, he's old and he's 13 years old. He's just old, but
he's getting up there.
He had that patch of bald hair forever, and all of a sudden it's just kind of grown back, and he seems to have a little more spunk in his step. I don't know what the heck. I didn't do anything. I didn't change his diet. I didn't do anything. I don't know what happened.
Well, I remember that time, I think it was last year, you were by the river and Charlie got a hold of something in his mouth and you had to rush him off to the vet.
Oh,
you were doing a live stream. Yeah, that was kind of tense. I was a little worried about him.
Yeah, he broke out into a rash all over his body. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at Charlie. It's Al again, man. He's a comedian tonight. Well, he's always like.
I get called majestic all the time, Al, but I chase my deer down on all fours like a cheetah. Grab him by the neck and take him down.
Yeah, because that's the way they do it in South Dakota, damn it.
Exactly.
Majestical. Did anybody ever see the movie Hunt for the Wilder People? It was filmed in New Zealand. And that was a word that was used by one of the characters, majestical. You ever get a chance, look that movie up, Hunt for the Wilder People. It was a really cool movie. I don't want to say too much about it because you can't say just a little bit about it. You almost have to tell the whole story. So, Hunt for the Wilder People, majestical.
I still fade my lip.
Good. And I started chewing. Then the more, what was that Cal said about that crazy? That's like the Impossible Burger. I mean, God knows what's in. Don't even bother. It's not worth it, and it's expensive. I'd rather spend all that money on a nice big fat ribeye than I would one of that.
Again, it
Those
just
things.
shows how spoiled we are in this country when people are
They have
willing to
nothing else to
spend
do.
$12 on a fake burger. It's like
Yeah,
when there's starving kids all over this world, you're spending $12 on a fake burger.
I know. Hey, John Euler's here.
I just ain't got time for it. What up, Johnny boy?
That was
Did you
good
see?
timing.
I am definitely like a cheetah. Maybe like Chesto cheetah.
Whatever happened to Chester Cheetah? He was cool. I used to love those commercials back when I had TV. He was funny.
I do love me some cheesy poofs.
You know, that's really the downfall, and that's what's in those veggie burgers and Impossible Burgers. It's all the polyunsaturated fats. They sold us up the river about cholesterol and fat. I was talking with Greg about it in a live stream last summer. I mean, we are cholesterol and fat. Without it, our brains don't work, our joints don't work. People who have been on statins, I got to wonder, I know some people who have been on a statin for 20 years and they say they're fine, but yet they've had their shoulders operated on, their knees operated on. As far as I'm concerned, that's a lack of building blocks. You need cholesterol to build red blood cells. So if you're not, then darn right. No, thank you.
No, I ain't got time for it. My life's too busy to worry about stupid stuff. Well, let's say, the no salt people. It's like, do you guys realize the neurons in your brain cannot transfer information without sodium?
Our cells can't operate, and countries at one time waged giant wars over salt.
They used to pay their soldiers in salt.
That's right. Very, very important. Some people may be sodium intolerant, but the reason that happens is because there's not enough magnesium and there's not enough potassium to balance it.
Exactly.
That's right. Exactly. And it makes our brains work. So does the salt. I mean, the whole thing works together. And then well, I blame Rockefeller for breaking this down, but they broke the whole thing down and said, you can't have this, you can't eat eggs, can't have salt, all the stuff that makes us healthy and helps us think, they tried to take away from everybody.
And then just look at the supplements that come with it. That all ends up giving you cancer.
Oh, I mean, it is so hard. I don't even think there is a truly safe supplement out there. Most of it's garbage. The only one that I can think of, because it's still family run, is Dr. Royal Lee's Standard Process. And they were the very first vitamin in America. That was back when Kellogg and Post grape nuts and all that came out, the turn of the last century. And Dr. Royal Lee saw where there was a problem with these foods, that there were too many carbohydrates and too much fiber, and people were starting to, even back then, people were getting away from meat, and there was no reason for it. So Dr. Royal Lee came up with a vitamin. Well, all right, if you're going to be that stubborn and not eat meat, here's a vitamin that's probably going to help you. And it's still around to this day.
Here's a little study. The guy who actually invented the carnivore diet, the carnivore diet's been around forever. It's just coming. But the guy who invented it did a study of civilizations that didn't have access to most vegetables and stuff like that. So they lived on a pretty much carnivore diet. All they ate was fish and mostly red meats. And those civilizations had way lower number percentages of diabetes was like not even a thing. Heart disease was just dramatically lower. Like,
right.
Can't even tell you. And they lived way longer than any other culture. And our bodies were meant to eat meat.
We are.
Why
we
we
have to have the protein.
Yeah, that's why we have canines, people.
Right.
It's not bad to have some green beans and some carrots. eat an apple, people. but
Sure.
but you
And
need to have that
try to do it
state.
in season too.
Yes.
Well, I don't know if you're old enough to remember, but back in my day, you did not see walnuts in the store until it was October because that's when they were harvested from California, and that's when they made it to the East Coast. So we did. I mean, even in the 60s and the 70s, we started eating we were still eating in season, and then it was like by the 80s where everybody was like gorging themselves with the seasonal stuff day in and day out. And that causes a lot of disease through it too. It throws off your metabolism. It can injure your mitochondria. It can destroy your immune system.
What
Bill
up,
Schmidt.
Monica?
Bill Schmidt has a question. He wants to know, anybody here know about this huge invasive spider that is in the south and working north? Supposed to be blue and yellow.
I think somebody put it, the Joro spiral. I have no idea.
I don't either.
Remember when the killer bees were going to kill us about 5 years ago?
Oh,
Remember that? Remember that huge scare?
JV, there were killer bees that were supposed to kill us in 1979.
Yeah.
And they never, I'm sure Judith and Dan Davis remember that. Probably if Greg is still here, he would too. And we were supposed to have air-powered cars by now too, damn it, because that's what my 1972 SRA card said.
Okay, there's a really bad song out there, but it's so funny. It's by, I think his name's Tim Wilson. He might even be dead now, but it's called Where the F is My Jetpack?
They set us up with the Jetsons. Do you remember the Jetsons cartoon?
Oh, yeah, of course.
They laid it all out for us. It was we were supposed to be living in space. Well, we never quite got there, damn it, and I feel gypped. I'm not worried about it. I love Mother Earth. I'm pretty happy here. Rabbits are smarter than they look, especially the hare. When their numbers peak in a certain area, they attract a lot of. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, the cycles. Like, this past summer, I had like 12 rabbits in the yard, and then the coyote came back. And now it's quiet all around because they ate all the rabbits and they moved on to green.
Yeah, I eat a lot of cheese and butter, buttermilk. I don't do milk, but buttermilk I'll do a lot of, and thick cream for my coffee. The one thing I do cheat on every once in a while is I'll buy some sugar-free French vanilla creamer because it's delicious, and that's my one treat to myself. But everything else is carnivore.
If that's what you want to do, go ahead. I mean, you can't be strict either because that just creates a lot of stress and it's not worth it.
Got to have some kind of release.
Yeah, you do. We have to entertain ourselves. The brain loves novelty. It loves change. Monica says, hello, Irene. Thanks for shouting out my honey, Mark J. Hiya, JV, and hope you had a good week. You got it, Monica. Anytime, and it's a good week because it's Friday and it's over with until Monday.
Your birthday's tomorrow? Damn it, Johnny. Why didn't
What
you
am I missing?
So I'm way down the chat past you.
Al, you're right. Oh, it's an Asian spider, John Euler. I'm way behind in the chat here.
But actually, carrots in your vision was all just a propaganda thing to. It had something to do with the Russians,
right?
It was all proper. I mean, carrots are good for you, but the thing about carrots being good for your eyes or something, like, it was all propaganda, and it was actually to help curb some. I can't even remember.
What was it, Al? Rickets, I think it was. The thing about carrots, the reason they're good for us, you should always eat them raw. Clean them a little bit, but eat them raw. But the thing about a carrot is it can pick up, because it grows in the ground, it can pick up minerals like maple syrup. It can pick up minerals like nobody's business. And with the genetically overly processed food that we have, there are no minerals in it, and except the ferropyrophosphate that they're shoving down everybody's throat when they fortified cereals and God knows what. But yeah, carrots are like a mineral gold mine. try to eat them raw. Eat as many as you can, and just clean them so that you don't get sick. But yeah, the whole thing with the eyesight goes back to the cholesterol, collagen, gelatin. I mean,
Yep.
collagen and gelatin, they're like two super health foods that they tried to make everybody forget about and say it's no good for you. Well, everybody's got achy joints, their eyes bother them, their hair is falling out, their nails are no good. I eat all that stuff. In fact, you know what I love the most are crust cuts. The leg, the shanks, because I put it in the crock pot. I keep the marrow in there. The first thing I eat when it comes out is the marrow. And although it's not officially bone broth, it's maybe 8 to 9 hours worth of boiling. I just save it. And it's really gelatinous. And I can remember at some point in my life, I remember Doc Gov saying, "Oh, don't eat that. That's the stuff that's going to kill you." Well, that's the stuff that keeps me active. Most I'm 57. Most of the girls my age, they don't get up anymore. They sit at the computer. They say, "Oh, I can't do that. I got this ache. I got that ache."
Well, just
But they
think
don't
about
eat any of that stuff.
to like the old outdoorsmen. What did they do in the winter? Yeah, they ate their meat but they made a lot of like bone soups.
A lot of fats. Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
they just
Absolutely.
leave it on the pot like all the time. Just let that bone marrow simmer into and then they would just drink it. And it was so full of all the good stuff for you.
It's got everything in it you possibly need. Oh, I see the spider, Bill Schmidt. It looks like an orb weaver. I don't know. My butcher across the river, she gets pasture-raised, grass-fed, and she will cook her bones for 30 to 32 hours. I don't really have the time to do that. So, I do the cross cuts, and I'm happy with that if I can't get to her. I hate going through the toll booths, though. We have the license plate readers. They take a picture. I miss that interaction with a human being in the booth. But they said, "Oh, well, we found more jobs for that." But that's what stops me from going across the river sometimes. But I'm going to have to go over at some point. What'd you say, Tug Hill? Carnivore diet is more than fish and red meat. It's all food that come from any animal in any form. Eggs, milk, cheese, butter, even honey. Honey's a carb, but it's a hell of a good food source. It's got everything in it. Is getting accepted as carnivore because it's from bees.
Eggs. I eat a lot of eggs. A lot of eggs.
Oh, I heard of an interview and a podcast just last month about an 85-year-old man who ate 12 eggs a day, and he said he had the best sex life ever.
That's why I'm so
Eggs
crazy.
are not going to kill you.
Eggs. Oh, we finally got it. Oh, somebody got to the troll before me.
I eat Oh, I missed it because I'm still way behind. I eat about 3 eggs every morning. I've been doing it for years. I'll never go back to eating vegetables. I'll eat a few here and there. Because when I was growing up in the 60s and 70s, the main course was a big hunk of meat, and then you had a little bit of vegetables.
That's the way it's supposed to be. You got your steak. Like I always tell people, like a salad at a restaurant is just a promissory note. They're just telling you.
It is.
Hold on, the real food's coming.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I love me some, cheesy green beans or something like that. I love me some of that, but you know what? Yeah, I want the steak.
Sure. Yep. I ate a ton of broccoli and a ton of kale. I'll never do it again. It wasn't worth it. It was a big mistake. It destroyed my hydrochloric acid in my stomach, and it almost killed my gallbladder. But I kept it. I worked hard. I studied hard, and I figured out how to save my gallbladder because the doctors wanted to take it out, and I got rid of that crap. I took care of it on my own. Oh, cool. Cal just picked up Mark. That's great. Thank you, Cal. You're going to like Mark. He's cool. Yeah. Very nice. I love when Mark, I love it when you were driving out there. So some of your last trap checks in that that pheasant. It was almost like the pheasant was stalking you out there. He's probably looking for a handout, kind of like the ones in my state forest. I had a couple of times when I pulled up in the morning just before daylight, and I get out and I walk away from my car, and I'm putting the shells in the gun, and I happen to notice there's something white in the bushes, and I look over. Right next to my car, sitting in the bushes, is a ringneck pheasant. You almost don't want to shoot them when they do that, but and of course, it's one of those situations. I shoot at them, and it's just about it's daylight. We can now legally in New York hunt an hour before daybreak and an hour after sunset. So I shoot at him, and what do you think? I missed the sucker. Of course, he doesn't move, and that's what's nice about having a double barrel. So I got him on the second one.
Pheasant is our state bird because we got millions of them.
And they're the size of Buicks.
And there ain't nothing better than taking pheasant breast, chopping it up, putting it in a pan, put some cream and mushroom soup on it, sprinkle a little bit of cheese, just a little bit of cheese, and then you make some cornbread stuffing and put that on top of the whole thing, and then put it in the oven. Ooh. Oh, man, is that stuff.
I'm getting hungry. I have 2 pheasant yet in the freezer. I should do that, definitely. You know what I usually do? I'm big on the crock pot. I'll just throw everything, even squirrels. I fried that one for the video because I want people to see it. Like women, maybe my age or younger, who want to hunt, they can see how simple it is. The crock pot can take up to 8 hours, but I'll put everything in the crock pot, even pheasant with a big chunk of lard, really good lard rendered from really good bacon.
Well, you can't. Like people that tell me they don't like venison. I'm like, all right, I
don't understand that either.
I'll make you a deer roast, and same thing. We'll do it in a crock pot, and I'll put it in a crock pot, and I'll put potatoes and whatever else in there with it, and slow cook it on a crock pot, season it, and they'll be like, "Oh, I love that." Yeah. And it's like, yeah, it's so easy, and you don't even have to watch it. You just put it in the crock pot and let it go all day.
It's really a shame because they get spoiled and their taste gets desensitized on that factory raised corn-fed garbage that's coming out of the Midwest. No offense, but it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't taste like anything. It's always dry. It's always 89% lean. I don't know why you would do. That's one thing about protein. We got to have the fat to go with the protein because remember, Grandma always kept the lard. What?
That's the big thing about the carnivore diet is I have to buy like ribeyes and stuff because I have to have the fat.
You got to have the fat. Well, the same thing with the venison. Anytime we got one, of course, the first thing that came out before it went to the butcher was the back straps. But I mean, I would cook it up with it, like, those little sticks of butter. That's like one serving for me. So I would cook it up with that because the protein, you need the fat to digest that. And if you have too much protein without the fat, I'm sure you know this, your thyroid will slow down a little bit. Yeah, you might get a little sluggish in that department.
Just wrap everything in bacon, people.
Get a stick of butter and wrap it in bacon and shove it down your throat because there's nothing better in the world for you. Of course, you want your quality to be as high as possible, but if you can't afford it, food is food. So buy what you can. Try not to get anything with too many fillers and preservatives in it. Try to do the best you can. I mean, we have a place called Aldi's. It's a German supermarket company that's been here for years. And it's always on the cheap side. When they first started out about 20 years ago, it was kind of a spooky place to go into. They were like bloody corned beefs, like thawed and refrozen together in the freezers. But I went back recently because I'm trying to save a couple of dollars, and they had grass fed, and I looked at the whole package, and it came from someplace in Pennsylvania, or it came someplace from Connecticut or upstate New York. I'm like, this is great. And they were good prices. So you can get really, really good quality. I know some of these farmers are selling cuts of meat for outlandish amounts of money. Sometimes, like big logs of butter for like $20. You can still get really good grass-fed.
Well, actually,
butter is better than pasteurized.
One of the great things about West River, South, it's kind of funny because this whole grass-fed thing is like a new thing, but it's always been a thing here. East River, we have a lot more of the feeding, the corn-fed, and Nebraska's big on it. Like,
forget about Nebraska. Yeah, I think that's where most of our factory farms are.
Yeah, that's that's all feedlots. That's all. Those cattle don't even move. They stand in front of the trough all day long. But West River, South Dakota is all still ranch, like ranch, where all the cattle are out in pasture all the time. They're all grass fed. They always have been.
Right.
And so when this whole grass fed thing started hitting, I was like, man, we've been doing that forever. What are you guys talking about? It's like,
exactly. Yeah.
But
it's
then
true.
I just one of the bad things about growing up here is like we just don't know what the rest of the world. We really don't. And I don't really care to know because I like the way we live. But one of the great things about social media is I talk to people like that live in like New York or California.
I admit it.
And the way your guys get your food and stuff like that is just so weird to me. Like, nobody has gardens and nobody has, their own chickens. And it's become more popular now, but it never used to be.
Since 2020, yeah, but before that, everybody just went to the store. And there it is again. That goes back to being spoiled, and there's no sense of urgency. There's no sense of self-reliance. But I think people got a good shot in the arm, for lack of a better term, since March 2020. But I hate to say it, I think a lot of people forgot about how bad March 2020 was too. And like we were just saying earlier, put away whatever you can when you can. And I don't think this area is even close to being prepared. I mean, they are just 2 sheets to the wind.
I do the same thing. I have a coffee can that actually sits next to my coffee pot, but there's not coffee in it. It's all leftover lard that I pour into it, and then I reuse it to cook with.
I do too. Even if I cook mushrooms or if I saute, like I like sorrel. Has anybody heard of cream of sorrel soup? It's a Scottish vegetable. It's so tart. You have to make cream of sorrel because it's so tart. It's like eating like a whole package of sweet tarts. But I put it in the frying pan and I fry it up with lard, and it's just fantastic. It just smooths everything out, and you got to have the fat to digest foods. That's just how our bodies are made. Yep, it's sat up there all the time. Yep, same thing here. In fact, when I was considering plant-based, I was living in upstate New York. My neighbors were Reed and Rita Conklin, and they were like 120 or something at the time. They ate eggs and bacon every day, and I'm hearing all this stuff in the news. I'm like, wait a minute. We grew up with that stuff. They're telling us not to eat it, and there's Reed and Rita. They eat bacon and eggs every day, and they're pushing 100. So the proof is always in the pudding. You're going to have to get more MRE as you're going out. I think Amanda's probably going to go out there and, like, kill something and drag it home. She'll have that covered.
No, she can't wait. Actually, the first thing we'll do, because she's going to fly into Houston. And the first thing we're going to do is we're not coming home right away. We're going to take like a week or 2-week vacation down there because the first thing she wants to do is go hog hunting.
Oh, man, I haven't done that in so long. That's nice.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. God, that was like the 80s thing to do around here. Believe it or not, we used to be a lot more red in this area. In fact, very, very red. I remember going to school. Outside the school was all the guys shotguns lined up because they walked to school with their guns. This is in southern New York, 60 miles from New York State. This is back in the 70s and the 80s. And something went wrong, and everything just went crazy around the 1990s. And that's when all this PC and all that crap started. And they started, God forbid your kid gets hurt. If you have to go to the emergency room, the parents could end up being arrested for child abuse. I mean, everything just went absolutely ballistic over here. But yeah, I mean, the guys would walk to school with their guns, and on the way home, shoot some crows. Back then, we had so many crows, they were target practice. Shoot a couple squirrels on the way home. Mom knew how to prepare it. It was cool.
Well, I grew up. Even when I went to school, we still had our guns in the window racks in our trucks.
I miss that. I miss those days so much.
Yeah. And yeah, every day after we get out of school, and heck, we'd all go out and hunt something. It's just what we did.
Mm-hmm. Go out and get some exercise after school.
We had firearms. Well, they still do to this day, but it's not for the same reasons.
I remember classes years ago. I didn't get into high school until 1979, but in the 70s in the school and all around this area, that they had a firearms class, but it was gone by 1979, 1980. A lot of things disappeared then. It's really too bad.
Yeah,
but
I did a hunter safety course in the school lunch cafeteria.
In school, that's right. And they stopped that in the 80s. Now, I did go to private school at Milton Hershey School. I don't know if anybody's familiar with it. Milton Hershey invented the Hershey chocolate bar. He and his wife, Catherine, they didn't have children. So with all the money he made from the Hershey chocolate bar in Hershey, Pennsylvania, he and his wife started an orphanage. Well, now it is the most opulent orphanage on the face of the earth. And I was lucky enough to go there. I went there for free. I was a half orphan. And while I was there, when I went, they said, well, what do you like to do, Irene? I said, well, I'd like to fly a plane, and I would love to learn more about hunting and fishing. And so I was the only girl in a trapping club in Hershey, Pennsylvania. I just got muskrats. Some of the guys would get skunks and whatever. They come, who got it because he came to school stinking. And they said, you want to learn how to fly a plane? They're right down at the bottom of the hill from the Milton Hershey High School was a landing strip. You can learn how to fly. It was an amazing school. But yeah, that was my first experience with trapping was back in Hershey, Pennsylvania. But nobody complained about it. Nowadays, I think after I left in 1983, the whole place went blue. And I mean, I was in a barn unit. We lived in units of like 16 girls, and we all went to school together and everything. And we had a storage barn, but we had 55 head to milk. But the milk from the cows went to the chocolate factory. And I remember being up at like 4:30 in the morning, and the wind chill was like 70 below zero in Hershey. But we just did it. We were in the best shape of our lives. We loved every minute of it. But then after I left, that was when it turned very blue, and people stepped in and they said, well, that's child labor and that's child abuse. Well, it didn't hurt me any, that's for sure. I loved it.
I grew up, we had cattle. I grew up on a ranch, and in the wintertime, you have to feed those cattle hay around here because there ain't nothing else for them to eat. And it didn't matter if it was 50 below. It didn't matter if you were having a blizzard. It didn't matter whatever. You had to go out. You had to feed the cattle. You had to cut holes in the ice so the cattle can get something to drink. You had to be done every day, twice a day, no matter what the weather was. And there was no complaining. There was no child labor. You just did it. And you know what?
That's right.
I'm still here.
Yeah. Yeah, it teaches you a lot. It teaches you how to think on your feet, teaches you how to organize, how to keep a routine going. Yeah, it gives you an amazing work ethic. I just want to say, Mark.
I was Jim Soft Surf out of those terms.
Oh God, what am I missing now? Mark is leaving. Mark, I hope you get those watch hours, and I hope everything works out. And no problem anytime. I hope this did a lot of good for you. take care. I know you said you weren't going to be around for a little while, so have fun and looking forward to seeing you and Monica together. Take care. All right, so what am I missing? Razorbound, how are you? Yeah, I missed the window rack. It gave you a good feeling to see something like that. Wasn't threatening at all. That was good stuff. Yeah, right. Judith Dan. Yeah, I miss those days. And when I tell people about it today, they think I'm crazy. They're like, "What do you mean you were milking cows when you were 15 years old?" It's like that's actually kind of late. I was driving a
That's
tractor.
late. I was driving the truck out to the fields when I was like 8, 9 years old.
Yep. Yep. Well, I was mowing grass at 8 or 9 years old, but I mean, I was driving the tractor around it. I loved it. It's like, when I came back to New York and I had already done driver ed, and some of my friends, they did a little bit later here. And they were like, "What do you mean you learned how to drive before you learned how to drive?" It's like, jump on a tractor. Nobody's going to say anything to you. Just don't run over the fence because it's a pain in the neck to have to fix that.
Or do like I did. They put the fence down, but I ran over the fence with the truck and tore the exhaust off the bottom of the truck.
Oh, no. That's terrible.
Yeah, my grandpa was not happy with me.
Oh, I'm sure.
What up, Daniel?
How you doing, Daniel? What's with the unicorn, man?
Yeah. What up, Danny?
That,
Danny boy.
that looks like fighting icons there.
Don't tell me you're going that way on us, bud. What up, Freezer Brown?
Probably a statement on the current state of affairs. It's not nice. We went to see Ted Cruz while in Hershey at the Motorcycle Museum just for fun. Yeah, I went back there a couple times, and I just hated it. I don't know if I'm ever going to go back to Milton Hershey School because they just tore that place apart and changed everything. Nothing really stays the same. The thing that pissed me off about it was the school had an excellent dynamic, and a lot of amazing people came out of that place. Way to call out his unicorn. I don't like unicorns. I live in New York. I don't like unicorns, and I don't like rainbows. Milton Hershey, as brilliant as he was, and as wonderful as the school was, he created his own Frankenstein monster, and that was the class of 1981. And this is the reason why I won't go back, because the class of 1981 pilfered the Shire. They broke the Milton Hershey Trust that was started in 1947 when right after he died, that the school would always remain exactly as it was. They broke that trust. First time I ever realized a trust could be broken, and it can. And what they did was they took the 40-some thousand acres that Milton Hershey had set aside for orphans to learn a trade or learn how to farm or learn how to trap, shoot a gun, or fly a plane, and they sold most of it off to Nike Corporation. So that's the reason why I won't. I went back a couple times, and I just, and of course the amusement park has gotten a lot bigger. The amusement park is always pretty cool. But yeah, I don't like what happened to the school. The high school, was made of New Hampshire marble. Place was massive. It was a monster, New Hampshire marble. And the class of 81 took the rear wings, for the classrooms, the rear wings off of this building, demolished them, and sold the marble. I mean, just the biggest bunch of evil sellouts you ever wanted to meet. What's going on, Daniel?
Most are sellouts anymore.
Oh yeah, these guys were bad, and they did this like 30 years ago. They destroyed that school, absolutely destroyed it. I think I was the last class that that lived in Milton Hershey School the way he intended it to be, to build character and a good work ethic. In fact, they tore my barn down and they don't milk cows anymore. Instead, they have a fake cow in a museum and they show like this film on how a cow is milked. It's like that is just surreal and freaky. So they took the real life out of it is what they did. You took the kiddos there for fun and show them where the chocolate comes from. Yeah, they closed the factory down a long time ago because the class of 81 destroyed that too. Not unless something's changed since then, but the last I heard, and this is going back 20 years, they don't make the chocolate there at the factory. They create a chocolate smell, and that is not steam from industry coming out of the pipes or the stacks. That's all, smoke and mirrors. And the Hershey chocolate bar is no longer made in America. It is made in a country that begins with the letter C. And I'm not going to say the name. I'm sure you know.
I actually think I know, but I'm trying to. I don't think it's China, though, isn't it? Like,
I'm not going to say. I just don't. I don't want to say that word. Call me a conspiracy theorist, but I don't want to say that word on YouTube.
But yeah, I don't think it's China. I think it's yeah. It's not Canada. I don't think it's China. I think it's
Canada hates this man. That damn canola oil. Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
I know Mars sold out a long time. God, all this stuff is going back 20, 30 years. None of it's new. I can remember.
I was to find out that Cadbury came from New England and not from the United States because I love Cadbury.
I got the memo on New England, but a lot of my ancestors come from New England. And if you drive over the border from New York into Vermont, you're going to see the name Sheldon all over the place. And then all of a sudden, one day, and this is going back years, I realized that New England turned blue. I said, what the hell happened to that? I missed the memo on it. New England blue? New England? Oh, no way. But it is. So I guess that's another part of the country. Kind of like California is.
The sad thing is, that's the last place you would think because that's, where the Republic started.
That's my ancestry. We go back to before the revolution. I'm not looking for a pat on the back, but it's very interesting. And we got a lot of history there. And my freaking name is all over New England and it's blue. What the hell happened?
Yeah.
Like I said, I totally missed out on that one. I learned that probably 30 years ago when I heard that Maine was becoming a welfare state and they were having a lot of trouble, a lot of crime up there. About 60% was on welfare. And the mayor held a town meeting, and I can't remember which town in Maine it was, but when he walked in the door to the town hall, one of these welfare recipients stabbed him in the stomach. And I'll never forget that. And that was when it hit me that New England had turned blue. And I said, I can't believe it. I mean, I'm still bowled over by it.
It might be Chile or Colombia. I think it's somewhere where,
well, it's not made in America anymore.
I know it's not made because I just watched a documentary on it not that long ago, and I can't remember what country it came from.
Did they mention Milton Hershey?
Yeah, I actually watched the whole thing on the Hershey bar and where it came from, but yeah, it's not in our country. It's actually, but the sad thing is, it's made with child labor now, where it's made.
Well, we were child labor, but we didn't complain.
No, these are like poor kids, like really poor kids, and they're not paying them.
Right. Yeah, Milton Hershey School outfitted you with everything. They took care of our every need. I mean, it was just phenomenal. In fact, at one point, the government said to Milton Hershey School, you guys have got so much money, we're going to tax the living hell out of you, but we're giving you a warning. If you
I want to
spend it
say
on
it's in
something,
Africa somewhere.
yeah, if you spend it on something, we'll leave you alone. So you know what they did? They bought Great Adventure.
You know
Just
what?
pocket change.
I'm almost positive it's made somewhere in Africa now. That's one of the countries in Africa that starts with a C.
Hmm.
I'm almost positive it. Countries in Africa that start with C.
Oh my God. Okay, so I Googled it. Where is Hershey chocolate made? And the first thing that comes up is Hershey, Pennsylvania. That's a lie and a half. But
Maybe it's the
everything on
Congo.
the internet is right. What?
Maybe it's the Congo.
That might
Sure.
be.
I remember it somewhere like, yeah, and now I'm positive it was in it's in Africa. It's made in Africa now. I'm positive of it now. But they were talking about they moved it to Africa because
Because they can get cheap labor.
they got really cheap labor. And it's not even
Mhm.
like the working condition. I remember watching this whole thing, and now Hershey's has to like Hershey's got called out on it. So they've been in on this they're trying to improve it,
Yeah.
but
That's what it says here, Daniel. Well, when I was growing up, before everything became adulterated or corrupted, candy bars were made with coconut oil. They were delicious. And Twinkies and Yodels, they were like hand-sized cakes.
oh, yeah.
And they were good. They tasted really good. Did you know that McDonald's fries used to be fried in lamb's fat? They don't do that anymore either. It's all that disgusting vegetable oil, which is what's making everybody sick and making people stroke out and have heart attacks, not the fat and the cholesterol.
It's actually coming back to me. A lot of the chocolate that you eat in this world comes from Africa now. Like they might produce the bar somewhere else, but the chocolate itself is made in Africa. So what they do is the companies will buy the chocolate, ship it to wherever their factory is. But they don't make the chocolate in factory anymore. The chocolate's all, and it's not just Hershey's. It was a bunch of companies that were guilty of this, and it was made in these really crappy places in Africa.
God.
Yeah.
Shame. Yeah, because I remember being on the cross country team, and we would sometimes run out across town, you know, to get in the shape and all that. And I loved, especially when it was raining, I'd love running down the main drag with the Hershey Kisses as the on the light poles and smelling the chocolate. And it was the real thing at the time. That was really cool. That was an awesome, awesome place to spend high school, that's for sure. But that class of 81, they had the devil in them, and they were up to no good. They destroyed everything. Uh, for some reason, I can't get rid of these on my end. I don't know why.
I got rid of it.
Thank you. I appreciate it, JP. Yeah, for some reason, I don't know if it's the internet slowing down or whatever, but I get an error whenever I try doing that. That's only the second time that happened. So what did Daniel have to say? National, yes, yeah, I just saw that. Yeah, it's a shame. We had a good thing once, but a bunch of people didn't like it, and they decided to change it for the worst. Ready-made cakes. Yeah, I remember yodels were so good. I remember as a kid putting my change together and like walking out in the blizzard to the supermarket to get some because it was real food. Wasn't
And
this chemical crap? I mean, I'll
I
still
actually
grab
kind of
one once in
remember
a while, but
when pastries got a different taste, because I remember, yeah, like the Hostess cupcakes. You could
Mhm.
tell back when they
They
were
were
made
good.
with like real sugar and real cocoa and all that stuff. Man,
Yeah.
they used to be so good. Then now you eat them now, and it's just like,
It's all chemical and it leaves a bad taste in your mouth, literally. I'm sure with the carnivore diet, you're familiar with Weston A. Price, JV?
uh-uh.
No? Weston A. Price? He was the dentist back in the 20s who went around the world trying to figure out why his clients' teeth were falling out of their mouths. And they had so many dental caries. So he went around the world. His brother worked for National Geographic. That's how he was able to go. He just kind of followed him. And he went around, he wrote the book Nourishing Traditions, and he tried in vain to find a vegetarian, vegan, or plant-based society that was thriving, and he could not find one. And what he did find was that people who ate their traditional primitive diet were the ones that were the healthiest. And so that's where a lot of this carnivore renaissance is coming from. And it's a good thing because people need to realize that we just can't eat the plants all the time. They're not going to do us much good. They don't have the building blocks that the meat has. But yeah, if you get a chance, look up Weston A. Price. You'll love the message there. He did a lot of work
Well,
back in the
that's just
20s.
the guy I researched is the same thing. He went and he studied cultures that only ate meat and just how much healthier they were than the rest of the civilizations.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we're definitely what do you call omnivores? We're a lot like bears. We can pretty much eat anything, but there are some things that we just should stay away from.
Well, yeah. Well, and anything that's chemically
Bingo,
made in
Daniel.
the lab, I just don't trust. Like
Right.
you can keep your Splenda, you can keep your if you chemically made it in a lab, I don't want it.
What, remember Hugh Hefner? Hugh Hefner drank a bottle of Coca-Cola every day. When his doctor told him to switch to an artificial sweetener, dead, just like that. In fact, I found proof. I gotta print the damn thing out now that I have my awesome free computer. My copier. I found a book, a medical book from I think 1890 something, and their cure for diabetes was sugar. It was actually the body was not. It wasn't too much sugar. It was that the body was starved of sugar. I can't explain it completely, and I wouldn't take that verbatim, but it was very interesting that sugar was the cure for diabetes. So there's a lot more to it than that, but it's very interesting. That's right. We have to have protein. We've got to have it, and we just can't get enough of it from vegetables. I mean, they have some beans. Beans are just no good because the phytic acid in beans just inhibits the absorption of protein. Man, you got that right, Al. Everybody's got fluoride brain. Calcium will give the chloride. What is it? No, the chlorine will give you early Alzheimer's. The fluoride will too. It's bad news. In fact, I noticed a big difference between my neighbors and I who live on off a well, and of course, we have it filtered, we have the media and such, and the salt for the softener. There's a big difference between our conversations and the people in town who are drinking the fluoridated, chlorinated water. I mean, they're just totally out of it. I don't know how they survive. I don't know how they get up and make it through every day. And driving, oh my goodness, these people are actually driving cars. It's legal.
If they get to vote, that's the scariest part.
That's even worse.
But
And some
that's why I know certain people in here are going to disagree with me, but why do you think they push legalization of marijuana? They want you as dumb as possible.
Oh, bingo. I mean, as soon as that came out, I had a bunch of friends. They were like, "Oh, isn't this great?" No, it's not, because you're out to lunch now. When you start smoking that stuff, you're going to go out to lunch and you're never coming back. I mean, come on, people, think about it.
Here's a medical truth, because I used to work in a research facility that studied sleep, because I'm a sleep tech, and I used to work at Somnicare, and we were the second largest sleep research facility in the country, and it was ran by Dr. Hall, and he was the second ever doctor that got his degree in sleep medicine in this country.
Wow.
But we actually studied every kind of like drug, stimulant, whatever, all the time, and we did it. This was years of studying, and the one thing, THC was different from heroin to meth to alcohol to caffeine to nicotine. THC had one major difference than all the rest of them. If you are a heroin addict, a cocaine addict, a meth addict, coffee addict, whatever, they all do the same. They suppress REM, and REM is the most important sleep. And I hate commercials that say REM is the deepest. REM is the second closest to being awake. That's why it's so easily to get knocked out.
That's right. That's right. But, I agree.
But it's the most important sleep, because as an adult, that's where your brain. That's why you dream while you're in REM. Your brain is kind of like, everybody knows computers anymore. When you defrag a computer, what a computer doing is taking everything in the computer and trying to organize it and slot it and create more space. That's what your brain's doing during REM. That's why dreams usually don't make any sense, because your brain's just going through pretty much every thought, every memory, everywhere, and it's trying to organize. And that's why you can be at your grandma's house having tea with a bear. And it doesn't make any sense, but that's because your brain's just going through all kinds of things at one time. But it's the most important sleep for an adult, because yes, it's defragging your brain and creating more space. So you have better memory, you have better focus, you have better whatever. So it's the most important thing for you to get while you're sleeping. And you should hit REM 4 to 5 times. Now, if you are a heroin addict, I said all that, they all suppress REM. They all do. All of them do. But the biggest thing we found in our research, if you get off of heroin, you get off of caffeine, you get off of whatever, and eventually your sleep will go back to normal, eventually, with all other drugs except for THC. Okay. If you are a prolonged pot smoker and you pretty much, your brain will never go back to normal. And that's why they become slower talkers. That's why they forget stuff all the time. That's, they get that, that classic, hey man, you seen my keys, man? It's not on accident. It's because you're not getting the sleep you need.
Yeah. My neighbor is like that.
Exactly. And everybody can sit there and try to tell me all the positives and all that, but I will tell you, it's a proven fact. I've seen the research with my own eyes. I worked on the study, and you'll never catch me anywhere near it.
I don't have an interest in it today, because most of it's government GMO garbage, and the THC is so high. It's causing a lot of problems. Yes. But years and years ago, like 30, 35, 40 years ago, I remember getting seeds from plants that were grown in the woods not far from home by, whoever was the local pothead. And that was nice. That was really, and I used to just grow it on my windowsill. I let it get about that big and just keep pruning it. And then we heard in the news that the cops were able to drive around town with some kind of a scanning mechanism. Daniel might know what it is. And they were able to pick up they were looking for people who were growing pot. What is it called? Without dirt, hydroponically in their house. They were looking for those blue lights, but apparently they could pick up a pot plant or whatever. So I took it out of the window. I wasn't really interested in it. And then all this new stuff came out, and I'm like, why? What? When the government hands you something, you run. You don't take it. I don't understand this sudden
But they were
trust.
smart about weed. They were so smart about weed. You know why they were smart about it? The same way they made alcohol as popular as they did is
Yeah.
they took it away from people. When the government takes something, just like a kid, when they take something away from you, you want to have it that much more. And then you have all these researchers come up with these studies, and it helps with it cures cancer. What? Now, I will say, it does help with things like seizures. It does help with Parkinson's disease. Reason being is if you know what happens to your brain when you have a seizure or you have Parkinson's disease, is your brain. If you ever watch a EEG of a brain while you're having these episodes, your brain is getting really choppy, and the reason why you have is because your brain can't keep up with what's going on, and so you start to shake, or your body can't comprehend what's going on, and that's why you have the seizures, and that's why you have. And the reason why THC works is because it actually slows your brain back down, and when it slows your brain back down, obviously then it slows down the thing. But so it does work, but then you're in the trade-off of the reason why it's working is because your brain just slowed down.
Yep. It's not like Daniel is bringing up some good points, and it's not that it's good or it's bad. It's just a choice that has some consequences.
Exactly. But well, yeah. But a lot of things. That's why a lot of people get hooked on drugs, is because of depression and anxiety and all that stuff. But,
and a lot of that stuff comes from nutrition loss. When I was trying to find out why I got sick eating vegetables when the government told me it was so good for me, I stopped that right away. But in my research, I found that during the war, I'm sure everybody remembers the scene in Patton when he slaps the officer for battlefield fatigue or shell shock. They named it different things. Daniel knows it's been different names for different wars. I always wondered why my dad drank, and everybody was saying, of course, everybody takes everything out of context as soon as the media tells them to. My dad was not a bad guy. He was very high functioning, and I get the suspicion. Daniel, you might recognize what I'm going to say. You don't have to comment on it, but he got some kind of insurance from World War II. I'm not sure what happened there, but something went on there. I kind of surmise it might be some kind of badassery. Maybe not. I mean, they could have just been in a firing tower and it got struck by lightning. Who knows? But what I found was, because I'm wondering, okay, PTSD, dad drank a lot of the Charles Durning, 4 gold stars. He went from silver stars. He went from Normandy straight to the Battle of the Bulge. Ended up living to be almost 90 years old. He became obsessed with acting, and that's what kept him from going off the deep end. That was his addiction. So what I did was I interviewed a bunch of guys, mostly Korean vets who live around the area. I said, what was the food like? Because our goldfish crackers, our Ritz crackers and things like that, they all come from World War II. And they were trying to get people to eat fake food then. and they were pushing the polyunsaturated fats, which are extremely unhealthy. And I had to ask these guys, was all the meat and the butter and the eggs going to you guys? No. I talked to four of them, and they said no. The food was exactly like tradition states, the jokes say. It was nightmarish. He said, and what they did was they sent people around to stop the guys from going out into the local villages and getting real food by telling them if they did, they risked death from food poisoning, botulism, whatever. But the guys did it anyways because they were starving. Well, one of them went into depth, and I remember his name. His name was Richard Gallagher. He's still alive. He was in the Korean War. He lives out here about 8 miles from me in the next town. He said, Irene, the guys with the toughest jobs broke down first because we weren't getting any nutrition. We were getting powdered eggs and powdered meat and meat that looked like something we never saw before. It was tasteless and bland, and we just weren't getting any nutrition. We couldn't rebuild. And he said the guys with the toughest jobs broke down first, and I think my dad was one of them. My dad was dead by 50 from alcoholism because they tried to, of course, they take everything out of context and they say, oh, well, alcoholism is a disease. No, it's not. It is not a disease.
No,
it's a symptom of a bigger problem.
Yes.
So that when I did my study on food and human physiology, trying to figure out, okay, who's trying to tell me what and what are we supposed to eat? That was my like landmark discovery when I realized how much danger they put these guys in by feeding them garbage in the war. And Daniel probably would have a lot to say about that, but that's what causes all this.
And just think about it. Yeah, that's where a lot of the crap food we have came from. Is they tried to something that would last out in the field, that wouldn't go bad, that could easily be carried, and that's where a lot of crap food came from.
And that's where a lot of our preservatives and pesticides and herbicides, that's where fluoride came from, that's where Teflon came from. And a lot of the nerve gas and other things that they used in the wars, they ended up on our vegetables. And it's just.
And Daniel, I want to talk to you about the two different kinds of cannabis. We studied both of them. They both have the exact same effect on your sleep. The exact same effect. It made no difference in the cannabis. THC is THC, which strand it is. Well, hi, Aisha. Thanks for joining us. I just noticed you were here. But they both have the exact same effect on your sleep. Now, am I one of those guys that sits there and says, I'm a free do what you want in your life. I really don't care. I really don't. But don't, just like with alcohol, with anything else, if you're going to choose to don't be getting behind the wheel of a car. Don't feed me a bunch of crap. Don't tell me it cures cancer, because I know it doesn't. But and then the people are like, well, weed doesn't get you high. It makes me smarter, and I can think. No, it doesn't. And if it does, you got bad weed, and you should probably talk to your dealer because they're selling you some crap. Because if my weed didn't get me high back in high school, he went back looking for my dealer. Like, what is this nonsense? I want my money back or some better weed.
You mean the guy hanging out behind the subway isn't legit?
Yeah. This is just some grass clippings from when you mowed your dad's lawn earlier. But yeah, I don't care what another adult does. Just like, I'm definitely anti-gay, but whatever you do in your own house is your damn business. As long as you ain't affecting my life, I could care less what you do with your life. I really do. I got my life, my kid's life. I don't care what another person does in their own closed doors. You can be
behind closed doors is none of your business.
You can be in your backyard, cutting the heads off of chickens, sacrificing to some hamster god. keep it in your backyard. I don't care what the hell you're doing. I really don't. I'm going to think you're a little weird, but I'm not going to call the cops or anything like that. I could care less. But I don't like people that skew facts. And I said, I was there. I seen these researches done with my own eyes. I studied them myself. And so I know medical facts that I witnessed. And that was a major thing. That's actually because I was actually pretty pro pot until because like I grew up in I never actually personally really liked pot because I was a partier. Like I like to party, and pot always just made me want to eat cookies and watch cartoons.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I liked to party. Like I wanted to be wild and crazy. But I like a bottle of Jack more than weed ever, but
I lost my taste for alcohol. I don't really miss it, but it was kind of nice to like go out with some girlfriends and have like one of those fruity, girly martinis, like a Cosmopolitan or something. I kind of miss that in a way.
The only time I really miss whiskey is like when I'm sitting around a campfire because I don't drink anymore. But like I gave up drinking, but that's the only time. Like when I'm sitting around a campfire, it's like, man, if I had a Jack on the rocks right now, man, this would be perfect. Yeah. The only time I miss beer is right after I get done mowing the lawn on a hot day because there was nothing that ever satisfied my thirst more after that. Cold beer.
I was listening to an oldie station a week ago, and a 1970s Budweiser commercial came out, and it was back then they were orchestral. That goes back to the whole Mad Men reference from Madison Avenue. It was like a orchestral masterpiece, this Budweiser 1970s commercial. And I remember this. I remember it very well. It played on the radio all the time in the 70s. But man, I tell you what, that song is still stuck in my head. They are so good at getting people hooked on something, and they always were. But at least back then, I don't know, we used to be so much more resilient, and we just aren't anymore. But we just discussed all those things. Yeah. But the whole idea
they did it on purpose. They changed our diet on purpose. It was all on purpose. They made us dumber on purpose. They made schools dumber on purpose. There's a reason why places like Japan and all those places are killing us in innovative stuff anymore. Is because, for one, we don't teach our kids crap. They go to school, they get a little bit of math, a little bit of history, a little bit of science, and then they get all the other nonsense that ain't going to help them in life, that they don't need to be learning in school.
Right.
And where in places like Japan and China and Russia and stuff like that, their kids go to school and they learn how to read and write. They learn how to do math. They learn science. They learn history. And that's about it.
And we were taught Latin. Yeah. And then they stopped that by 1977. No more Latin. It's really a shame.
And now your kid can't even fail anymore, pretty much. Even if now they won't even allow your kid to fail. So
there's no.
They just keep pushing them along with and they're getting pushed through school no matter how dumb they come out the other end. And what good did that do them? Like, we don't want them to feel bad. It's like, well, yeah, but they're going to feel bad the rest of their life when they have to flip burgers at McDonald's because nobody's going to hire them.
Right. And then pretty soon that's going to be automated.
Yeah.
The pink slime. Participation. Yeah, absolutely. You showed up, so you get a trophy. You didn't have to do a thing. What an empty, hollow creature that makes. I mean, there's no substance. There's no character there.
And then they wonder why the generation turned out like they did.
Right. Exactly.
They can't handle failure anymore. They just can't. They have to be happy all the time. I'm sorry. again, I'm a very Christian man, and God made us in His image.
That's
You
right.
know, and God gets
Totally
mad. God gets sad.
Mm-hmm.
We make God weep. It's in the Bible. We make God cry.
Right. It's
So
normal to have emotions.
yeah, it's normal to be sad. It's normal to be angry. It's normal to be happy.
Right.
It's normal to be in a giggly mood sometimes. It's just we have
Right.
a range of emotions for it. Because if we didn't have a range of emotions, we might as well just be robots.
Yeah. Well, I think that's kind of what they're pushing towards, because that was a big problem in March 2020. Around here, especially. Oh, well, you just have to take one for the team. You're just going to have to suck it up. Yeah, too bad for you. You don't have a right to feel that way. It's like, why are you taking away my God-given rights to act and feel like a real human being? I mean, you're basically telling me I have no right to feel anything. And that was ever more present since March 2020, especially in this area. Boy, I tell you what,
Well, they've been
a
pumping
lot
into
of people I
people's
wanted to
heads
run over.
forever. Just think, I mean, think of the TV shows and movies and the portrayal of what life, everybody should always be happy. You got to be,
Mm-hmm.
and it's all about you. You got to find that inner happiness in yourself and blah, 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 blah. You know what makes people most happy? You know what causes, you to be more happy? It's actually helping other people. So this is a proven fact too. When
Very
you
true.
do something good for somebody else, it triggers a chemical in your own brain that makes you happy yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's the most basic thing. It's ingrained into our system. When you help another person and you physically witness and you can see the help, it triggers happiness in your own self. Nothing causes more happiness than that.
Right. And I'm always doing things like that. I mean, I don't go out of my way as much as I used to, but I'm also being harassed for it. If Irene wasn't smart enough not to be nice to somebody. That's the attitude around here. It's crazy. It's
Yeah.
it's psychotic. It's narcissistic,
But
and
again, I mean, just look at the
you're
world. I
looked
mean,
down on.
through social media and what is it? Everybody's always quick to get into a
Yeah.
fight on
Oh my God.
something, anything.
Pathetic.
Yeah.
It's absolutely pathetic. I just want to read what Daniel's writing here. And of course, Al's got to try. Don't make you smart. It makes you think through different mental avenues. Good nutrition will make you do that too. Excellent nutrition will. I think that's the reason why so many people have a drug addiction or an alcohol addiction. It's because they're missing. Like I told that story about World War II in Korea and the lousy food. If you're missing, your body needs something. It's not going to wait. It's going to make you grab whatever it can to stay alive. I think it could slow me down mentally. Yeah, I never did either. My brother did a lot in high school, and he was doing higher math in like 7th grade. And then in high school, he started smoking. And I asked him once, I mean, he always did well, but I said, Tom, how come you're not like a mathematician or doing something more technical, engineering? He said, because I smoked too much pot in high school. He said it was like the Rolodex of information in my brain exploded.
Yeah. It doesn't make you smarter. I mean, I hate people that tell me that. It's like, no, it doesn't. Try being a sober person, sit around and listen to somebody who's high talk.
I've been there.
It's the most annoying thing on this planet. It really is. Because they think they're sounding so smart. And you're like, dude, shut up. But I don't care what another adult does. I just don't. But I'm just telling you, it's not good for you. But either is this caffeine a drink. It's not good for me. The cigarettes I smoke ain't good for me.
Well, the way again, it's the source. The cigarettes, you could get your own organic tobacco. I still think we were so much more resilient. We can handle things like that. But I mean, again, factory made versus organic, your own,
Well,
with
actually,
something you make with your own hands. Quality is everything. I hate to use this word, but sourcing
oh
is
yeah,
very, very important with everything, even cigarettes and caffeine. And I don't think coffee is so bad. I think coffee
coffee
is
really isn't. It's soda is way worse.
it's the corn syrup in the soda, not the sugar content.
But tobacco actually used to
I
not
have a timer on my light.
because when people first started smoking tobacco, people used to live to be 100 years old smoking. It was actually the chemicals we used to treat the tobacco that changed. I
Yeah,
can't even
yeah.
remember what the chemical used to be. I want to say it was like
DDT. Right.
That makes me think of wrestling. Giving somebody a
Oh, what did I
DDT.
miss?
But yeah, I can't. I want to say when they changed the chemical they used, because there used to be a chemical they used to spray them down with, and then they changed it. The government made it illegal to use this chemical, and when they changed it, and they started, that's
Oh,
when
what the heck was that? BHT,
yeah,
BTH.
it might
Yeah,
be.
it was. Yeah, it was just in one of my assignments. Boy, I'm retarded. Great retention, huh?
Yeah.
Um,
Well, that's the bad
yeah,
thing
it
when you
was, yeah, it
study
was
things so
BHT
much.
or something like that.
I, I'm like you. I study a lot of things. I do a lot of reading, especially the Bible. But I study other things. Like when you were talking about Hershey, I watched it. I like
Yeah.
retaining. But when you try to retain so much information, stuff goes out the back door along with it because your brain can only hold so much.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we're not going to remember everything.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, I wish I could. And the older I get, the more information I have. I'm like,
it
damn.
might be DHT backwards. I said I'd have to go back and restudy it.
Hey, hang on a minute. I got it.
I did that study a long time ago on tobacco and when things changed. Because there's actually still other countries, places like France, where they smoke cigarettes all the time and they live forever. But yeah, their tobacco is made different than ours. It's still not good for you. It's not good to light up anything and inhale the smoke and breathe it in. But what makes ours cause cancer and stuff like that so much quicker is because of the chemical you're breathing in, not just the smoke.
Yeah, it's the floor sweepings.
Yeah. I mean, again, any smoke inhalation is not good for you. I don't care what it is, tobacco, weed. If your house is on fire, if you're sitting next to a campfire for too long, any smoke inhalation is not good for you. But
Right, it'll give you a cough. That's for sure.
but the reason it became so deadly and so quickly is because of the chemicals that changed from a more natural to
Oh,
pretty much.
it was BT, Bacillus thuringiensis.
Yeah, and I can't remember what it got switched with. It might be DHT.
Daniel, are you thinking of DDT? I remember they used to spray that off the backs of trucks back in the 70s. And we used to run after the truck.
Only thing I think of when I hear DDT is Jake the Snake Roberts, because that was his finishing move in WWF. Was the DDT.
Yeah, they were using the BT especially because of the gypsy moth larvae. Did you know that they renamed the gypsy moth to the spongy moth? I was in a Zoom meeting today with NASMA, the North American Invasive Species Management Association, and some guy, I think he was drinking, but we could all get involved with this one. And he comes on, he goes, "It is not a spongy moth. There is nothing spongy about that moth at all." And I was like, why did you change the name? What's wrong with gypsy moth? It's been called that since 1867.
hurt 12 people's feelings, so we have to change it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all it is.
And I couldn't say anything because I was driving. I was listening to it while I was driving along. Hey,
What's up,
small
small
water
water?
charters, how you doing?
Yeah, that's what it is. All it has to do is hurt just 12 people's feelings, and they'll change the name of anything anymore. Because taking Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben off of their boxes cured racism, right?
Absolutely.
It's all gone now. That's all it took. I don't know why we didn't think of that years ago.
Well, I tell you what, if Hoax had taught anybody anything, it was how to be more racist and more discriminatory than ever before. It taught people how to hate their fellow man with such a venom, a violent nature. I mean, it was the whole thing was all about evil. That's for sure. I never saw so much hate in people before.
I'm more of a Stinger Splash type guy. Sting was my man. I was a WCW guy. I mean, but Sting, he was the best.
The mosquito fog truck time, man, I remember that.
They still do that here around here, but I don't know what chemical they spray anymore. But every once in a while, the mosquito truck will come down the road.
Yes, it is. It's brainwashing, and it's conditioning. And I'm preaching to the choir. You already know that, Daniel.
Canada's way worse than we are. They've done y'all lost your damn Canadian minds. I'll tell you that.
I have some Facebook pages for that I remember DDT for you and me makes life better, improves the quality of life. You know what's funny about that, John? The guy who invented DDT, the scientist who invented it, warned everybody, you got to watch the concentrations of this stuff. It's water soluble. Well, a lot of his constituents didn't really believe him, and his peers didn't believe him, his coworkers. So what he did was he took a tiny, tiny drop of DDT and put it in water. I'm not sure how much water, maybe 8 ounces of water every day, and he drank it. 1 drop of DDT diluted in water every day. Drank it every day until the day he died, which was when he was almost 100 years old, and he never had any health problems. So I cannot remember the chemical makeup of DDT. I guess I could look it up. But, I mean, again, everything, there's an explanation for everything, and not everything is miserable. And I know a lot of what we did in the past sounds scary because it's been explained in modern times as a bad thing. But so a lot of times who's explaining it is the wrong person to tell us these things, because a lot of them are feeding us a lie anyway. So that's basically what the GOP apostrophe P does. What's that, Daniel? Remove all the people of color in packaging, and now you or anyone else. Yeah. When else did that happen? I would say about 50 years ago. Same thing, different time. Oh, absolutely, John. Yeah, tell me about it. Same thing. You hear these horror stories about it, but yet I know farmers in upstate New York, I mean, 4 generations. Well, maybe not. Roundup hasn't been around for 4 generations, but I mean, they got to spray. You got to do something, or you're not going to get a crop. It just isn't going to happen. Oh, we're just talking about the world in general, how messed up it is, and how hoax to turn everybody into an evil mofo. Actually, it's not as bad as you think it is. It really isn't. You got to talk to the people that know, that's for sure. Yeah, it's like, round two in my lifetime of learning how to hate somebody who's different than you. That's exactly what it is. I didn't see that the first time.
What am I
But
missing?
yeah, you gotta talk to the real McCoy to find out what's going on. Because the news isn't going to tell you anything that's correct. Yeah, and Aunt Jemima is just corn syrup, anyways. I mean, we grew up with it for a little while, but
You know the
you
sad
gotta
thing about the
have.
whole Aunt Jemima thing, and you guys might even discuss it. I said I just missed everything, but how is it racist to have Aunt Jemima on there? Aunt Jemima was a woman, a black woman, who
Mhm.
made a millionaire out of herself selling
Yeah,
her products. Shouldn't she be proudly displayed on
exactly,
the I mean,
exactly.
she beat the odds. She should be
She most
proudly.
certainly did. Absolutely. Yep, we're going back in time 40 years with all this crap. Well, the in New York City, the Natural History Museum. I mean, pretty much all the taxidermy in there was shot by Teddy Roosevelt. Well, maybe not, but his statue was out front forever, for decades and decades. And I think it was January they took it down because they said Teddy Roosevelt on a horse outside of the Museum of Natural History is offensive, and it makes me cry. So it went to North Dakota, where people don't cry about everything. I was like, I used to love going into New York City. There's a lot to do there. The most beautiful thing about New York City for me is being able to drive back out of it at the end of the day and come back home to the woods. But especially after March 2020, I don't even know if I want to go down there. Every once in a while I get the urge, to drive down the West Side Highway, swing around the Battery, maybe come up the FDR. The FDR is a piece of crap. Or maybe, go to Fraunces Tavern where Washington had his farewell dinner, George Washington. But after hearing stuff like that, I mean, it's just become a mecca of devil worshipping slobs. Not that it always wasn't, but it just seems so much worse. The yum yum eat 'em go guy. I remember that. What's on Amazon? I boycotted Amazon. I've only bought maybe 5 things from them. This, since I knew about Amazon, but I boycotted them for good. Not that I needed them, but in March 2020, when 20 plus million people lost their jobs for absolutely nothing. And Amazon just kept rolling along. Son of a bitchs.
I need to boycott Amazon. My wallet would enjoy it.
I'm sure.
But
Yeah, I'll look
being,
something up. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I want to say, being a guy that lives alone, I actually appreciate that I can get all my toilet paper and paper towels, stuff delivered to my front door, and I don't have to go to the store and deal with people.
That is a huge convenience. I totally understand that.
I hate
I know what you
shopping.
mean. But I just can't let Amazon. I know I'm just one person protesting with my feet, but I just cannot abide by the way Amazon just stomped all over the little guy. And they got all kinds of benefits and made billions and billions of dollars. While I mean, the guy who used to own the corner bodega is still it's freaking March, and he's still living in his car since March 2020 because he lost his business because the GOV apostrophe T said you had no right to work, which was so freaking illegal.
It
They
was
know
that
it too. What?
what they did was absolutely. It should have never happened.
No.
Never should have. And people cheered it on. They did. It's
Yeah.
sad. I
It was
fought that
psychotic.
argument forever And people were like, well, it's just money. Money will come back. But think of all the lives we're saving. I'm like, whose lives are we saving? If everybody's gonna be poor and destitute by the time this is all over, what life did you just save? It's like now everybody's depressed, and I mean we already have a
Yeah.
problem with everybody being hopped up on depression and anxiety pills in this country, and you just probably tripled it during this whole dumb thing we did.
Well, I noticed 20 years ago, that was when the antidepressants started to become like Pez dispensers.
You
And
don't want
and
to get
then
me
we
started.
then we went into the marijuana and just, well, actually no, it was the antidepressants, then the general prescription pills, where if you were 50 and you weren't on at least 20 of them, then something was wrong with you and you were
Oh,
irresponsible and you need to go to your doctor. I mean, from 25, 30 years ago, if you took that many pills, even 10, even 8 at any age, 20, 25 years ago, you should be in an asylum. There's
yeah.
something wrong with you. You're taking how many pills? What doctor are you going to? What quack are you going to? Now, if you're not taking that many pills plus more, well, you're just plain irresponsible.
Don't get me into depression pills because I will go on for hours about the harm
There,
that's done to our country.
oh, absolutely. And just FYI, serotonin is not the happy hormone. It is a stress hormone, and it's actually dopamine. Serotonin, it's not a happy hormone, not at all. The serotonin is the hormone that comes out when you're like in a death-defying accident, and serotonin keeps you alive. It's not a happy hormone at all. And they just keep feeding you these pills and telling you these lies and say, oh yeah, you're going to be fine. No, that stuff is so bad. It ruins the receptors in the brain so that then they don't work at all,
Exactly.
because it's called serotonin reuptake, constant reuptake, our brains don't work that way. Well, I mean, you know a lot about that. So
I study the brain, yeah. And there ain't nothing worse for you than
antidepressants, they're the worst. You're actually, I think, if you really have to have something, you're actually better off with some Valium, because yes, it can be addictive, but I mean, if it's only a little bit. But I have to say, I mean, I don't know what's worse. They were given lobotomies in the 1960s, like handing out flyers for a movie show. And now we've got the antidepressants that are keeping people just as dumb and stabilized.
yeah.
It's a lot. Well, you know what, guys? Wow, it's 10:39. When did I start? Like 4 o'clock.
We've been on here for 3.5 hours. Well, we haven't talked in forever,
right.
so we haven't
Yeah,
had a
but
good conversation in forever.
that's true. It's been a long time. I think the last time we talked was through Facebook Messenger, and it was for the Christmas video, which turned out really nice.
Yeah. Wasn't as good as last year's, but I just didn't have the time. Next year, it's going to be drag out. Except for I got more views this year than I did last year.
Did you?
It.
I didn't know that.
I ended up getting like 15,000 views on that Christmas video, and the year before I only got 6,000.
Oh, no kidding. 15,000? Oh, that's awesome.
With an average watch time of like 24 minutes. So people at least watched half of it.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing to do, is to keep people's attention. That's why when I'm doing a voiceover, if it doesn't sound quite right, if it puts me to sleep, I got to do it over, and I got to do it over, and I got to do it over. because if your voice changes tone in any way, and it goes down or it goes up too much, it's just got to sound good all the time. It's hard to do, very hard to do. But I find voiceovers easy to do, because sometimes when I'm filming out in the field, I just plain don't feel like talking.
JV looks 15. Good night, Blackwoods, you heathen.
Oh, have a good night, Daniel. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, I think it's time to call it a night, JV. Thanks for coming up. I appreciate it. And thanks for sharing me out.
Hey, no problem. I will jump down. Bye, everybody. Peace out.
Have a good night, all. And thank you so much for coming in. Bye-bye.